Chapter 744. My junior sister and I were the ones who called for reinforcements. It has nothing to do with an outsider. He bowed to Fan Tong again. Master, please uphold justice and kick this outsider out. Fan Jian, don't talk about Sir Lin like that. Fan Jinjin was furious. You almost got us killed. What does that have to do with Sir Lin? Junior sister, let me ask you one thing. Was it Lin Yu's idea to return to the 7th Sea region? That's because before Fan Jinjin could speak, Fan Jian interrupted again. It's fine as long as it was his idea. Did we offend Vice Ocean Lord Yang Jing by returning to the 7th Sea region? You're the one who caused this. Fan Jinjin's breath quickened. She gritted her teeth. It was the first time she'd seen such a shameless person. She used to respect Fan Jian's identity as the eldest senior brother. But today, Fan Jinjin finally saw Fan Jian's true colors. I went back to save you. If I hadn't gone back, how could you have escaped after offending Vice Ocean Lord Yang Jing? Fan Jian snorted. If I hadn't begged Vice Ocean Lord Yang Jing, how could he have sent troops to save the 6th Sea region? Fan Jinjin was so angry that she wanted to rush out and kill Fan Jian. But Lin Yu held her back again. If you tell too many lies, you'll make mistakes. Lin Yu swirled the teacup in his hand. His lazy and calm voice was heard. If a lie is wrong, you'll have to tell more lies to cover it up. In the end, there will be more and more flaws. Kid, what nonsense are you talking about? Fan Jian stared at Lin Yu. He thought he was very smart. He thought he could come up with such a brilliant plan to checkmate Lin Yu when he was about to be punished. Fan Jian, you said you asked Yang Jing for help? Fan Tong's voice sounded. He had just turned away from Lin Yu when he heard the meaning in Lin Yu's words. That's right. I asked Vice Ocean Lord Yang Jing for help. Before Fan Jian could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Fan Tong. Have you met my sworn brother, Xiao Yinyao? Never. Fan Jian immediately shook his head. Now, Deputy Sea Lord Yang Jing is in charge of the 7th Sea. He only agreed to help because of my persuasion. On the way here, Fan Jian had already seen the army of the 7th Sea retreating. In other words, no one could prove that he was lying. As for Lin Yu, Fan Jian knew that as long as he killed him, it wouldn't matter whether he was telling the truth or not. How could a dead person seek justice for himself? Fan Jian was also thinking about what to do next. As long as he got the credit, Fan Tong would betroth Fan Jinjin to him. Then, he could sleep with Fan Jinjin and take away her most precious possession. Fan Jian believed that he could make this proud goddess submit to him. I see. Fan Tong had a smile on his face, but his eyes were as cold as ice. Then how did you persuade Yang Jing? As soon as he said that, Fan Jinjin snorted coldly. Let's see how you're going to continue lying. It's like this. Fan Jian had already thought of an excuse. He kept talking for the time it took to drink a cup of tea, which infuriated Fan Jinjin. What do you mean you refined the celestial fate pill? What do you mean you exchanged the recipe for the celestial fate pill with Yang Jing? That recipe was Lin Yu's. Enough, junior sister. Fan Jian snorted. It seems you've been deceived by this kid and can't tell right from wrong. I'm very disappointed in you. Interesting story. Fan Tong heaved a long sigh. Guards. Yes, sir. The guards of the celebration hall were summoned. Fan Jian's lips curled in delight, thinking that Fan Tong was going to make a move on Lin Yu. Master, I've thought of something else. This kid's origins are unknown. Perhaps he's a spy from another sea. Why don't you hand him over to me, and I'll take him down and make him confess everything. Master, Fan Jian wanted to say more, but his hands and feet were restrained by the guards. What are you doing? Why did you tie me up? Lin Yu is right there. You're the one we're tying up. Fan Tong's angry voice sounded from the seat of honor. My sworn brother personally sent me a letter explaining the situation. Lin Yu is not only a benefactor of the 6th Sea, he's a benefactor of the 7th Sea. He was the one who killed Yang Jing and saved my big brother. At the same time, he also saved us. And you, a petty person, are so narrow-minded that your jealousy has clouded your mind. You actually want to take all the credit. You're so narrow-minded. I was blind to have taken you in as a disciple. Fan Tong's thunderous voice boomed through the hall. Fan Jian finally realized that Lin Yu had killed Yang Jing. Then wouldn't everything he said just now be a confession without being pressed? Master, I cut the crap. Take him away and send him to the North Gate. He's not allowed near the Six Seas main camp ever again. Master, the North Gate is for dumping dung and water. Master, Fan Jian roared. The guards couldn't restrain him, and Fan Tong's fury flared. With a wave of his hand, he slammed a palm into Fan Jian's chest. Puffed. Fan Jian's entire body flew out, and his body staggered as he fell to his knees. You don't have to learn, or you can come back on your own. But you shouldn't have twisted the truth and harmed our benefactor. Fan Tong's thunderous voice boomed through the hall. His 9th level equalization realm cultivation suppressed Fan Jian. Fan Jian lost all resistance and was stripped of his clothes. Sir Lin, Fan Tong looked apologetically at Lin Yu. It's my fault for not teaching you properly. I almost caused you to suffer an injustice. I beg for your forgiveness. Standing up, Fan Tong walked up to Lin Yu. The two looked at each other at eye level. Fan Tong bowed and apologized to Lin Yu. Fan Tong's sincerity was evident from the fact that a mighty lord of a sea was apologizing to a junior. It's fine, Lin Yu nodded. Fan Tong seemed like a good person after all. The celebration continued. Lin Yu didn't ask for a reward. After all he needed was the 6th sea. Now, both the 6th sea and the 7th sea owed him a favor. Favors seemed illusory and had no real value at all. But for people like Fan Tong and Xiao Yinyao, who had a lot of face, they had to be careful. Getting them to owe him a favor was much harder to come by than asking for treasures. Big brother Lin Yu, I'm sorry. Fan Jinjin also apologized many times. Lin Yu had helped her so much, but she couldn't do anything for him. The main reason was that Fan Jian was too talkative. It's fine. It's over. Lin Yu patted Fan Jinjin's hand. Don't mention it again, okay? Okay. Fan Jinjin nodded obediently and smiled. Big brother Lin Yu, the North Gate stinks. Don't worry. Fan Jian will suffer in the future. Chapter 745. I don't care if Fan Jian is a scumbag or not. You, on the other hand, get tired of the old so quickly. Lin Yu teased. Fan Jinjin blushed and lowered her head. I don't like you. Ahem. Lin Yu coughed. I'm talking about your dislike of Fan Jian. Didn't you like him before? I didn't. Fan Jinjin cared a lot about Lin Yu's thoughts. Jinjin has always kept a distance from Fan Jian. I just treated him as an ordinary senior fellow apprentice without any other feelings. Jinjin has never liked someone as much as now. Lin Yu nodded in satisfaction. I've never liked someone as much as I do now. Who do you like? Me? Fan Jinjin's face turned red. You're so annoying. The celebration ended. All of Fan Jinjin's joy that night was witnessed by Fan Tong. You could see that Fan Jinjin liked Lin Yu. Master Lin, I have something to tell you. After the celebration ended, everyone left. Fan Tong asked Lin Yu to stay. Father, why are you looking for Master Lin? Fan Jinjin asked. I just want to ask about Master Lin. You can leave first. Fan Tong explained, but Fan Jinjin was worried. Father, don't mess around. Nonsense. You're the one messing around. This is between Father and Master Lin. You can leave first. Fan Tong was furious. What? You don't want to be separated from Master Lin for even a moment. Father, what nonsense are you talking about? Fan Jinjin blushed even more and turned her face away, not daring to look at Lin Yu. You can leave first. Lin Yu had to say. Master, be careful. Fan Jinjin reminded him and walked out of the hall. Only Lin Yu and Fan Tong were left in the hall. Fan Tong heard Fan Jinjin's last sentence and smiled helplessly. Master, be careful. What did she think I would do to you? Don't be offended, Ocean Lord. Lin Yu smiled to ease the awkward atmosphere. But to Fan Tong, this was even more infuriating. She's my daughter, so why should I be offended? She's making it seem like I'm an outsider. A grown girl cannot be kept at home. A grown girl can't be kept at home. Fan Tong cursed inwardly. It took him a while to regain his composure. Sir Lin, you don't seem to be from the boundless sea. Lin Yu came from the world beneath the realm sea. Lin Yu said honestly. Beneath the realm sea. Fan Tong was surprised. I heard that there was a reverse current on the west side of the Sixth Sea. It seems to be the collapse of the seabed. Is it related to young Master Linyu? It should be. My original world has been submerged by the water. Linyu smiled helplessly. Fantong's gaze was solemn. He was wary of Linyu. Then why was your previous world submerged? How many people were there? Linyu knew that his old father wouldn't ask him clearly about his affairs. He wouldn't let him off today. Helplessly, he gave him a rough explanation. So that's how it is. This is the first time I've heard that there are other worlds beneath the realm sea. And according to your description, that place isn't small. It's comparable to a third of the realm sea. Linyu blinked. He didn't know how big the realm sea was. But Fantong's judgment should be accurate. After all, he was one of the Sea Lords here. Young Master Lin has friends in this world? Yes, but we got separated. Fantong nodded. Do you have a wife or son among them? Linyu smiled awkwardly. I'm not married. That's for the best. Fantong's brows relaxed. Don't worry, young Master Lin. I'll find them for you. As long as they're still in the Sixth Sea, I'll find them even if I have to turn the world upside down. Thank you, Sea Lord Fan. Sir Lin saved the lives of the Sixth Sea. This is something that I, Fan Xian, should do. Linyu sensed something was wrong. He'd interacted with too many great figures and knew that when they said something like this, there would always be a next sentence. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Linyu planned to leave. Fantong saw this and thought, what a good kid. Young Master Lin, please wait. I have something to ask you. It seemed he couldn't avoid it. Linyu smiled helplessly. Please ask, Sea Lord Fan. This is not official business, but a private matter. I don't like to beat around the bush. I like to ask, how far have things developed between you and my daughter? Fantong said straightforwardly. Linyu couldn't help but feel awkward. Fanjinjin and I? Linyu frowned and pretended to be surprised. Of course, we're just ordinary friends. How far have things developed? Hearing this, Fantong's expression changed. What? You only see her as an ordinary friend? Recalling how Fanjinjin worshipped Linyu, Fantong knew that his daughter had fallen in love with the kid. If Linyu only saw her as an ordinary friend, then this was going to be difficult. Linyu could only tell the truth. I've only known Jinjin for a few days. Does Sea Lord Fan think that something can happen in a few days? This was killing two birds with one stone. Not only did he return the question to Fantong, he also warned Fantong not to be too hasty. If Fantong continued to suspect that there was something going on between Linyu and Fanjinjin, it would only expose his daughter's casual behavior. Linyu would be at a disadvantage. Of course not. Jinjin has never liked a man. Fantong smiled awkwardly and cursed inwardly. This kid is not simple. His words were watertight. If I'm not careful, I might fall into his trap. The 33 seas of the Boundless Sea are also known as the 33 levels of heaven. Many young talents have expressed their admiration for Jinjin. Oh, Linyu's lips curled, showing some interest. He could be uninterested, but if Linyu pretended to have no feelings for Fanjinjin in front of his father, it would hurt Fantong's feelings. Fantong calmed down after hearing Linyu's words. That's right. You don't know, kid, but Muyin Hai from the 12th Sea came to Jinjin to propose marriage. That kid has already entered the equalization state at such a young age. He's not simple. Unfortunately, Jinjin won't even let him see her face. You may not know Muyin Hai, but you must have met my traitorous disciple, Fanjian. Fanjian also likes Fanjinjin. He thinks I don't know, but I know all about it. Unfortunately, he doesn't deserve it. Zhang Tianji from the 9th Sea and Wu Zhan from the 16th Sea both want to marry into the 6th Sea. Fantong continued. Linyu continued to play along. What happened after that? Naturally, Jinjin avoided them and told them to go home. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had a chance. Fantong said this to Linyu in his mind. Chapter 746. Young man, you have to cherish this opportunity. You and Jinjin have a chance. Fantong patted Linyu's shoulder. Fantong smiled, but his heart skipped a beat. Was this in order to pick up girls? Thank you, Ocean Lord Fan. Linyu will do his best. Don't worry, I'll find your friends as soon as possible. If they're within the 6th sea, I'll find them quickly. But if they've left the 6th sea, Fan Tong sounded troubled. Fine. Even if they're in another sea, I'll find them for you. Thank you, Fan. Lin Yu wanted to thank him again, but at that moment, a rumbling sound came from the entrance of the 6th sea. A signal to be on guard? Lin Yu looked out in surprise and saw a guard stopping a person at the entrance of the 6th sea area. The man wore a gray robe, hiding his face. He hovered in the air. The guards did not sense any danger from Lin Yu, but Lin Yu could sense that Lin Yu was very strong. Where's Fan Tong? An old voice came from under the gray robe. The voice reverberated throughout the 6th sea. Fan Tong, Fan Jinjin, Lin Yu, and everyone else in the vicinity could hear it. A single voice could travel tens of millions of feet. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. I may not be his match. How dare you? The Ocean Lord is not someone you can address. The guard unsheathed his weapon and pointed it at the gray-robed elder. Stop! Fan Tong shouted, hurrying over and ordering the guard to step back. He stared at the gray-robed elder with a serious expression, then half knelt. Greetings, Venerable Wuya. The guard and the rest of the 6th sea were shocked. In an instant, they all knelt before Venerable Wuya. Venerable Wuya? Lin Yu observed Venerable Wuya from a distance. Seems like a big shot. He didn't need to kneel to anyone, but the reaction of the 6th sea's crowd said it all. The decennial battle of Wuya is about to begin. I order you to attend. Fan Tong, as the Venerable One commands. Fan Tong nodded. By the time he looked up, Empyrean Boundless was already gone. Fan Tong let out a long sigh and ordered everyone to rise. He also warned the guards. The next time you see the Venerable One, if this happens again, you won't be able to keep your lives. The guards were also shocked. They knew that they had almost gotten into trouble. Fan Tong returned to the camp and said to Lin Yu, sorry to have frightened you. How can a man be frightened? Lin Yu smiled faintly and asked casually, who was that? Shoo. Fan Tong shushed him. The Venerable One shouldn't talk about this lightly. Lin Yu is too rash. Actually, as you know, it's not impossible. Fan Tong already had some trust in Lin Yu. He also knew that if Lin Yu and Fan Jinjin could develop a relationship, then Lin Yu would be on his side. He had nothing to hide from Fan Tong. The Boundless Sea is divided into 33 great seas. You should already know this. Lin Yu nodded. Fan Tong continued. The Boundless Sea is a part of the Realm Sea. Do you know how many realms there are in the Realm Sea? When Lin Yu shook his head, Fan Tong continued. There are 7 seas. The Boundless Sea is the smallest of the 7. Fan Tong laughed self-deprecatingly. The Realm Sea is divided into the upper, middle, and lower seas. That's a good name. Lin Yu couldn't help but mock. The Boundless Sea isn't in the lower seas, is it? That's right. Doesn't sound good, does it? Fan Tong laughed. That's why my lifelong wish is to lead the 6th sea to the middle seas. As for the upper seas, I don't even dare think about it. The 7 seas divide the Realm Sea into 2 upper and 2 middle seas based on strength. The Boundless Sea is indeed one of the 3 lower seas. Fan Tong looked at Lin Yu with a benevolent smile. Jinjin is a woman. My first wife left early, so I don't have a son to inherit the 6th sea. Do you understand what I mean, Lin Yu? Lin Yu suddenly had the feeling that if he nodded, he'd be the future master of the 6th sea. This was a hint from the rich woman's father, who wanted to keep him as a mistress. Lin Yu wants to be the master of the 6th sea. Very good. Before Fan Tong could finish, Lin Yu continued, but Lin Yu isn't just the master of the 6th sea. There was a glint in the youth's eyes. It was the glint of ambition. Despite Fan Tong's age and cultivation, he couldn't help but be shocked. Such ambition at such a young age. He could sense the ambition in Lin Yu's eyes. A mere master of the 6th sea wasn't his goal. You want to be a venerated master? Fan Tong was at a loss for words. No, you want to go even higher. Lin Yu retracted his gaze, reverting to his respectful demeanor. Fan Tong laughed. Good, very good, but also not good. Lin Yu remained silent. Fan Tong continued. Do you know what I'm talking about? Lin Yu doesn't understand. It's not that you don't understand. You're just too embarrassed to say it. Fan Tong sighed. You have a good character, ambition, and strength, but Jinjin is not good enough. Lin Yu remained silent. He knew Fan Tong understood what he meant. Go rest, child. Fan Tong waved his hand. He'd asked what he wanted to ask, and Lin Yu had answered in consideration of Fan Tong's dignity. Lin Yu left. Come in, Fan Tong called out. Fan Jinjin emerged from a small opening at the side of the hall. You're still the same as when you were little, silly girl. Fan Tong smiled kindly, but he could see the confusion in Fan Jinjin's eyes. Child, Lin Yu is stronger than I thought. He's harder to control. Do you want to? No. I'll be his daughter. Fan Jinjin took a step back and shook her head. Father, I'll do my best. She'd overheard their conversation and vaguely understood Lin Yu's thoughts. He had a bright future ahead of him. He wouldn't stoop to the 6th sea. Fan Jinjin and her father would only think that ordinary people were crazy if they said this idea. But Lin Yu was different. He defeated Ji Songliang with a single palm strike, killed Yang Jing, and rescued Xiao Yinyao when surrounded by an army. In this world, the strong were respected. Though Lin Yu appeared to be alone, Fan Tong and Fan Jinjin knew that the 6th sea was out of their league if they wanted to keep him. Daughter, there are some things you can't force. I won't force it. Even if Lin Yu doesn't like me, I can't fall in love with another man. Fan Jinjin rushed out of the hall. Fan Tong heaved a long sigh. Heroes don't last long. Though he was the lord of the 6th sea, he couldn't interfere too much. Chapter 747. For a few days, Fan Jinjin did not go to Lin Yu. She restrained herself, but it only made her feel worse. Fan Jinjin hid in her residence. She did not go to Lin Yu, and Lin Yu did not come to find her either. Bastard brother Lin Yu. Fan Jinjin cursed, and a maid came to report the situation. Young master, the Ocean Lord and Lin Yu have been searching for the sea burial secret treasure. They have almost turned the 6th sea upside down. So his father who did this. I hate him. In the Ocean Lord Palace, Fan Tong sneezed. Is the Ocean Lord all right? Don't worry. I don't know which bastard is scolding me. Fan Tong shook his head and said to Lin Yu, since we can't find the sea burial secret treasure, there's nothing we can do. By the way, I hope you can come with me to the Boundless Ocean Lord Assembly. Don't misunderstand. I know what you're thinking. This has nothing to do with Jinjin, but I cherish talent and want you to meet more important people. Lin Yu understands. I'll go. At night, there was some movement at the north gate. Eldest senior brother, are we really leaving? 3 figures were sneaking around, and the one leading them was Fan Jian. Fan Tong treated me like this. He would rather believe that Lin Yu than me. What's the point of staying in such a place? Don't worry. You won't suffer if you follow me, Fan Jian. I've already contacted people outside. They're very interested in the 6th sea burial secret treasure. Hearing Fan Jian's words, the other 2 looked troubled. This, betraying the secret of the sea burial secret. If the Ocean Lord finds out, he'll kill us. What are you afraid of? We'll leave tonight. The other one looked at Fan Jian. Isn't that right, eldest senior brother? Yes, we'll leave now. Fan Tong has been preparing for the Boundless Ocean Lord Assembly and has no time for us. He doesn't know that there's something good waiting for him there. Haha. Fan Jian's gaze was extremely cold. The 2 were already preparing to leave. This was the North Gate, the place in the 6th sea that lacked guards the most. It was only because this place was dirty and smelly. And Fan Jian was now in charge of the North Gate. Therefore, if he wanted to take the lead and leave, no one could stop him. He wouldn't even know. Wait a moment. Before I leave, I have one more thing to ask of you, Fan Jian said as he led the other 2 to Fan Jinjin's residence. Eldest senior brother, you're not thinking of taking the young Sea Lord away, are you? That's right. If we leave on our own, the Ocean Lord might not pursue the matter. But if we take the young Ocean Lord away, the Ocean Lord will definitely not let us off. Fan Jian snorted. This bitch was originally mine. If it weren't for Lin Yu's interference, Fan Jinjin would be my slave now. What's wrong with me taking back what's mine? The 2 of them couldn't stop him, so they watched Fan Jian approach Fan Jinjin's residence. The sound of the door opening was heard. The 3 of them who had just stood up squatted back down in the grass. They saw Fan Jinjin standing at the door and leaving her residence. Sticky brother Lin Yu. I must find him and ask him clearly. Fan Jinjin went straight in the other direction. Follow her. Fan Jian and the other two followed closely behind. Soon, Fan Jian was even more furious. Bitch. I pursued her for several years, but she didn't even look at me. Now I actually took the initiative to throw myself into Lin Yu's arms. Fan Jian was so angry that he couldn't speak clearly. They naturally recognized that the place in front of Fan Jinjin was the guest hall where Lin Yu was now living. Young Master Lin, really? Fan Jinjin just opened her mouth and shook her head again. No, this may make Brother Lin Yu think I'm an unreserved woman. She paced back and forth. Brother Lin Yu, I have something urgent to discuss with you. This is not good. Fan Jinjin muttered to herself. The entanglement of a young girl's first awakening of love was vividly displayed at this moment. I know. I'll take Brother Lin Yu to that place. He'll love it. Fan Jinjin clapped her hands, then hesitated. But Mother said that I can only go there with my husband. Otherwise, I can't tell anyone. Go. As Fan Jinjin pondered, 3 figures suddenly appeared in the darkness. Who's there? Fan Jinjin's heart clenched. At this time, there would be no one outside Lin Yu's residence. Because he didn't like to be disturbed, Fan Tong didn't even place guards here. Junior sister, you're mine. Fan Tong's palm struck out, the force of his attack closing in on Fan Jinjin at an incredible speed. Fan Jinjin used her supreme will to block the attack. With a clang, Fan Tong's attack was neutralized. You again. Fan Jinjin hated Fan Tong so much that she didn't even want to call him senior brother. She raised both hands, and a fist energy merged with her supreme will. She was ready to strike. Junior sister, your 9 revolutions mysterious art is not bad. Fan Jian sneered. Senior brother, you dare to plot against me? Then I won't hold back. Fan Jinjin was about to strike when she sensed danger approaching from both sides. The 2 people who came with Fan Jian were attacking Fan Jinjin together. Despicable. Fan Jinjin was furious. Fan Jian didn't stop either, and the 3 of them fought back. Although Fan Jinjin could beat Fan Jian alone, she was soon at a disadvantage. Bang! One of them hit Fan Jinjin's right shoulder. Junior sister, I'm sorry. Be gentle. You hurt her body. What am I going to do later? Fan Jian yelled with heartache. He smirked and hit Fan Jinjin's acupoint with his 2 fingers. Fan Jinjin suddenly felt her chi and blood flow difficult, and her whole body stiffened. Damn it! She clenched her teeth, trying to use her supreme will to break her acupoint. Junior sister, take it easy. The supreme will is very powerful. If you use it to break your acupoint, you'll explode and die. Fan Jian warned, and his face showed his greed again. Don't worry. Well, I'm tired of you. I'll send you back to Lin Yu. You don't have to kill yourself now. Bastard, what are you talking about? Fan Jinjin stepped back seriously. Only now did she know that the Fan Jian she used to know was such a disgusting person. What are you talking about? Fan Jian was furious. You're willing to come to Lin Yu in the middle of the night. Why can't you accept me? I've been chasing you for 5 years. How can I lose to Lin Yu? Fan Jinjin interrupted him repeatedly. Shut up. You're not qualified to talk about Lin Yu. You can't even compare to one of his fingers. He won't be like you. Before Fan Jinjin finished her words, Fan Tong punched Fan Jinjin's abdomen. Puff! Fan Jinjin spat out a big mouthful of blood, and her whole body bent. Senior brother, didn't you say you can't hurt our junior sister? It's okay. This bitch, I'll make her happy later. Chapter 748. After saying that, Fan Jian was already blinded by jealousy. His 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed at Fan Jinjin. Get out of my way! Fan Jinjin shouted angrily and dodged. Fan Jian took off her coat, revealing her fair and delicate shoulders. Junior sister, keep your voice down. Don't let Fan Tong hear you. Shameless. I won't let you get away with it, even if I die. Fan Jinjin closed her eyes and unleashed her supreme will. Fan Jian was not a fool. He threw out a powder. The powder was inhaled by Fan Jinjin, and in an instant, Fan Jinjin couldn't summon any strength. This is yin-yang harmony powder. Any woman who smells it will be captured. Fan Jian was full of evil fire. He quickly approached Fan Jinjin and teased, "Junior sister, do you feel hot all over and can't control yourself?" "I don't." Fan Jinjin's breathing was extremely heavy. She even felt that the breath she exhaled now carried a burning sensation. Tears welled up in her eyes. She used her last bit of strength to activate her cultivation to self-destruct. "Brother Lin Yu, I shouldn't be angry with you. I really want to see you again." But there was no Lin Yu in front of her. There was only Fan Jian and the two wretched men. "Fan Jinjin, let's see who can help you today." Fan Jian swallowed his saliva and approached. His speed was faster than Fan Jinjin's self-destruction. After all, he had been Fan Jinjin's senior brother for so many years. He knew the girl in front of him very well. Taking away her chastity was more serious than taking her life. But Fan Jian wanted Fan Jinjin today. "You guys are a little noisy." Suddenly, a calm voice was heard. Fan Jian, Fan Jinjin, and the other two people were very familiar with this voice. The four of them looked over at the same time and saw a young man's figure appear between Fan Jinjin and Fan Jian. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked at them lazily. "Brother Lin Yu." Fan Jinjin's eyes lit up with a flame of hope. But soon she said worriedly, "Brother Lin Yu, leave quickly. There are 3 of them. Go get my father." "Kid, don't think about leaving since you're here," Fan Jian said coldly. He could not help but feel a little surprised. This place was quite a distance away from Lin Yu's residence, and they didn't make much noise. Could it be that this brat's spiritual force cultivation was extremely high? Otherwise, the people of the boundless sea would not have such powerful insight. "I'll return those words to you." Lin Yu turned around and put his coat on Fan Jinjin. This scene made Fan Jinjin's heart, which had just fallen into an ice cellar, seem to shine into a warm sun. "Brother Lin Yu, let's go." Fan Jinjin felt that she was saved. Since that was the case, she shouldn't let Lin Yu get hurt. "They bullied you. Don't you want revenge?" Lin Yu said with a smile. "There are 3 of them." Fan Jinjin shook her head and held Lin Yu's hand. "I can't fight anymore. Brother Lin Yu, you can't take the risk for me. Let's go." Now that Lin Yu was here, they had a chance to live. Fan Jinjin was sure that Fan Tong and the people of the 6C domain would notice and come here. That would be the time of Fan Jian's death. Of course, Fan Jian was aware of this. "Attack together. Kill them for me." The 3 of them activated their cultivation and attacked Lin Yu together. The latter just smiled, his eyes still fixed on Fan Jinjin. If a dog bites you and you don't want to bite back, the best way is to kill the dog. Lin Yu's calm and emotionless voice came. Fan Jinjin's heart tightened. This was the first time she saw the youth in front of her so cold. So cool. What a good man. "Damn, you're about to die, Lin Yu, and you're still pretending to be cool." Fan Jian was so angry that his blood was boiling. His 5 fingers formed a claw, and a sharp finger force instantly approached Lin Yu. Then, in the next moment, a sword light flashed. Fan Jian was blinded by the sword light, and subconsciously closed his eyes. In the blink of an eye, an intense pain came from his arm. "My arm." Fan Jian kept retreating, his face full of fear. His right arm had been cut off. When Fan Jian looked at Lin Yu, he saw that Lin Yu was holding a wooden lightsaber in his hand. The lightsaber emitted a sharp sword aura that Fan Jian had never seen in his life. In front of Lin Yu, the 2 people that Fan Jian brought were dead. They couldn't be more dead. "No, no." When Fan Jian wanted to run away, he saw Lin Yu pressing his face with one hand. So fast. This speed was beyond Fan Jian's understanding. "Do you really think that you can beat me?" Lin Yu's calm voice was heard. It was like an emissary from hell, directly striking Fan Jian's mind. "I was wrong. Don't kill me. I have a secret that I can exchange with you. Speak." Lin Yu exerted more force. At this moment, if he used a little more force, Fan Jian knew that his face would be crushed by Lin Yu. I told him about the buried sea secret treasure." Fan Jian's face was full of fear. He didn't have time to think. Spilling the secret would give him a chance to live. Fan Jian didn't hesitate to do so. "Who'd you tell?" "You. Promise to let me go first, Then I'll tell you. The other ocean lords of the boundless ocean? Lin Yu probed. Yes, but you don't know who they are. Do you want me to tell you? There's no need. Lin Yu shook his head and exerted more force. As Fan Jian's eyes widened and his pupils expanded to their limits, his head was crushed by Lin Yu. Lin Yu already had the intention to kill this person who was in the way. Do you have a handkerchief? Lin Yu turned around and kept his emperor's sword. He looked at Fan Jinjin, who had been stunned on the ground for a long time. She originally wanted to help Lin Yu. But just now, she didn't even see Lin Yu's attack clearly, and the battle was already over. In front of Lin Yu, Fan Jian and the other two were no different from three ants. Brother Lin Yu, are you hurt? Fan Jinjin's originally clear voice was a little hoarse as she asked. At the same time, she took out her handkerchief. Here. Thank you. Lin Yu used her handkerchief to wipe the bloodstains on his hand. He was calm and elegant. At this moment, the young man's blood-stained hand and cold side profile were deeply imprinted in Fan Jinjin's heart. Take this. Lin Yu returned the handkerchief and took out an elixir from his storage ring. Fan Jinjin took it obediently, thinking that it was an ordinary elixir. But the moment she took it, a strong medicinal power poured into her internal organs and quickly healed the injured parts. In just 10 minutes, Fan Jinjin's injuries were completely healed. Brother Lin Yu, what grade is this elixir? Fan Jinjin had never seen such a miraculous elixir. Chapter 749. It's about the same as the celestial fate pill. I didn't notice. Lin Yu said casually. When he left the Sky Desert universe, he had refined many pills with him. Qin Yi, Lin Yuan, and Lin Xiu also had many pills with them. So Lin Yu was not worried about these people after knowing that the boundless sea could not threaten them. This was the trust he had for his companions. Celestial fate pill. Fan Jinjin covered her mouth. She knew the value of the celestial fate pill. She had not had time to ask Fan Tong to return the glory bot that she owed Lin Yu. Lin Yu nodded and took the storage rings of Fan Jian and the others. Killing people and robbing them was his mission. After doing this, Lin Yu asked Fan Jinjin, "Why are you here so late?" I'm here to take you to a place." Fan Jinjin woke up from her dream and looked at Lin Yu nervously. She pulled his hand subconsciously and did not dare to look at Lin Yu. She lowered her head and pulled Lin Yu to a place. After the two left, Fan Tong also arrived. Fan Jian. Fan Tong sensed that something was wrong. Why were there 3 more corpses on the ground? Why was Fan Jian here, and how did he die? Go and see if young Master Lin is here. Fan Tong ordered and said at the same time, Junjin, you guys go and see if Junjin is in the boudoir. Yes. Lin Yu was pulled to the edge of the 6th ocean by Fan Jinjin. Lin Yu had been here before to search for the whereabouts of the buried sea secret treasure. He could not find it all. Lin Yu and Fan Tong even thought that Ji Songliang might have lied to them before he died. But in the next moment, Fan Jinjin came behind a stone wall. She made a few gestures on the stone wall, and Lin Yu could see that it was a method to solve a small array. There's an array here? Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. He had checked with his divine sense before, but he hadn't found anything. No array formation in the Sky Desert universe could hide from him. However, he had been careless in the 6th ocean. Very quickly, Fan Jinjin's jade-like hand pressed against the stone wall, and at the same time, the unsealing formation also entered the stone wall. In the next instant, a vortex that was as deep as the starry sky appeared on the stone wall. What is this? Lin Yu asked. Fan Jinjin stuck out her tongue. My secret base. After saying that, she pulled Lin Yu into the stone wall. The scene before Lin Yu's eyes changed rapidly. They had already left the 6th ocean and stepped into a starry sky. The vast Milky Way was like a silver sea that stretched across the night sky. Specks of stars could be seen everywhere. This was a silver sea of stars. It was Lin Yu's first time seeing such a magnificent scene. Is this unique to the boundless sea? Lin Yu asked curiously. After all, in the Sky Desert universe, he hadn't seen such a magnificent scene. Beneath his feet, he felt like he was floating in the air. Wasn't Lin Yu stepping on the air with his cultivation, but he was floating naturally. The sky desert universe's starry sky was also in a vacuum state, but there was still some gravity. However, this world was a bit like Lin Yu's understanding of the universe when he was on Earth. It's absolutely empty. Lin Yu observed the surrounding stars and saw Fan Jinjin shake her head. No, only my mother and I know this place. So mysterious? Lin Yu continued to observe and saw a star that looked like Earth. He wanted to take a closer look, but he couldn't control his body. He couldn't step on the air here, and he couldn't control his cultivation to move forward. Yes, only my mother and I know. Before she left, she said we can't tell anyone the secret here. Lin Yu noticed the strangeness here. It was absolutely empty. Moreover, the obsidian aura here was also isolated. The obsidian aura outside seemed to be unable to enter here, and here it formed a new kind of energy. Lin Yu had never seen this kind of energy before. It seemed to be unusually violent. Lin Yu only saw dust constantly colliding with each other around him. After the collision, they produced new individuals. They combined into one to form a new force. Very quickly, these individuals separated again, and a new wave of fluctuation was created. Fusion fission. Lin Yu was silent. Suddenly, he had a terrible idea. He only needed to see clearly if the star in the distance was the real Earth to confirm this idea. But he couldn't do it for the time being. Lin Yu could only respond to Fan Jinjin. Then why did you bring me here? Fan Jinjin lowered her head. Lin Yu could see her red neck and ears. Mother meant that if I find someone I really like, then I can bring him here. Her voice trembled. She was pure and innocent. This was a formal confession from a young girl. Have you thought it through? Lin Yu lowered his head and looked at Fan Jinjin. At this moment, she looked very pitiful. Fan Jinjin's appearance could be rated 8 out of 10. It wasn't low. In addition to Fan Tong and Fan Jinjin's attitude, Lin Yu felt that if he really couldn't refuse, he wouldn't mind having another beautiful woman in his low-key sect. Brother Lin Yu, do you like me? Fan Jinjin held Lin Yu's hand and didn't dare to raise her head. It seemed that if she looked at Lin Yu one more time, she wouldn't have the courage to ask the question just now. I don't hate you. I don't like you either, Lin Yu said honestly. He was direct and ruthless. Hearing this, Fan Jinjin couldn't help but tremble. Her voice immediately choked up. Fan Jinjin still didn't raise her head. Instead, she said intermittently, "Okay, I got it. I'll work hard." She didn't give up. It was as if this answer was within her expectations. From Fan Tong's words, Fan Jinjin already knew the gap between her and Lin Yu. However, Fan Jinjin didn't want to give up. This was the first time she liked a man. The young master of the Sixth Ocean was unwilling to give up just like that. Seeing this, Lin Yu knew that feelings needed time to develop. Besides, it was hard to find a woman who could move his heart. He glanced at the new energy around him. Curiously, he reached out his hand and tried to condense this energy like he did in the outside world. Soon, the new energy formed a cyclone and appeared in Lin Yu's hand. The endless dust swirled around Lin Yu's hand like a starry sky. Fan Jinjin suppressed her sadness and looked at the cyclone in Lin Yu's hand. Brother Lin Yu, you're amazing. I've done it a few times, but I didn't know you could do this. As soon as Fan Jinjin finished speaking, Lin Yu's face turned serious. Something's wrong. He stopped condensing, but the energy seemed to have received some kind of summons. It surged toward his hand like a tide. If he didn't condense, it would disperse. As soon as he condensed, the energy dust in the entire space gathered. Chapter 750. Crack. Lin Yu's arm was instantly injured. Even with his balanced state constitution, he couldn't hold on for more than 3 seconds. Besides, the energy there was still condensing. Lin Yu wanted to let go, but a stream of energy passed through his palm and attacked Lin Yu's mind. He instinctively used his divine will to resist, but it was difficult for him to control his body. To be more precise, the energy directly broke through his defense. The violent energy wandered inside Lin Yu's body. 1 cycle, 2 cycles. It seemed to be observing Lin Yu's body. Soon, The energy of the cyclone began to merge with Lin Yu's internal organs. It was said to be a fusion, but it was so violent that it almost destroyed Lin Yu's body. Brother Lin Yu. Fan Jinjin felt that something was wrong with Lin Yu. She immediately stepped forward and tried to shake off the cyclone in Lin Yu's hand. However, the cyclone suddenly expanded the moment Fan Jinjin touched it and enveloped the two of them. At this moment, Lin Yu saw Fan Jinjin's hair fluttering. The energy that was destructive to him was actually gently surrounding Fan Jinjin. Even the energy in his body became docile because of Fan Jinjin's participation. The energy also changed Fan Jinjin. She was like a goddess among the stars at this moment. Her temperament and appearance seemed to have changed. Lin Yu could feel that Fan Jinjin's bloodline was quickly accepting the energy. However, Lin Yu and Fan Jinjin were attracted to each other like two specks of dust in the beginning. Brother Lin Yu. Fan Jinjin's eyes were blurred. Her consciousness seemed to be blurred under the influence of the power around her. Lin Yu's willpower was very strong, but at this moment, he also had an idea. As long as he accepted Fan Jinjin, he would obtain a very strong power. Just like the power of the dust, when gathered together, it would become stronger. Lin Yu and Fan Jinjin were like two specks of dust among the stars. Why are you becoming more and more beautiful? Lin Yu stroked Fan Jinjin's hair. Fan Jinjin had already reached 90% of his expectations. I finally understand why Mother said that I can only bring the person I like here. Fan Jinjin's jade-like arms wrapped around Lin Yu's neck as she looked at him with her clear eyes. Now, she understood some things. Big brother Lin Yu. Only the man I love can obtain the good fortune left behind by Mother. After saying that, Fan Jinjin pulled herself closer to Lin Yu, and their breaths intertwined. 6 hours later, when Lin Yu finished his sprint, a new memory surfaced in his mind. It was in a huge palace. The palace was carved out of white jade, not ordinary jade. When Lin Yu saw the palace, he could feel that it was an existence similar to the Sky Bridge. The palace wasn't an ordinary building, but a treasure. Lin Yu didn't know if the sacred objects that were passed down in the ancient books existed in this new world after leaving the Sky Desert universe. But now, it seemed that the level of the palace was on par with the Sky Bridge. Lin Yu's mind turned, and he saw a woman. This woman's appearance was somewhat similar to Fan Jinjin's, but her temperament was much more otherworldly. She seemed to be older than Fan Jinjin, and she was full of the aura of a queen. When Lin Yu looked at the woman, she was sitting in the middle of the palace like a statue. Then, she opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yu. You are the man chosen by Jinjin. Congratulations. The woman's voice was cold and calm. It was as if the person here was not a person with a will, but an order to tell the visitor the secret of this place. Anyone who came here would be able to know everything about this place. At this moment, when the woman spoke, an even more powerful force formed in Lin Yu's body. It was exactly the same as the galaxy Silver Sea. Divine power, devouring starry sky. Lin Yu's eyes widened. He didn't expect another divine power to be waiting for him. Lin Yu could clearly feel that the power of this divine power was different from the one in the Sky Desert universe. This divine power was even more powerful. In the next moment, several voices appeared in front of Lin Yu. These voices didn't come from the same person, and he didn't know how long they had been there. Just the voice alone already had a sense of age. Nan Gongming, you are no longer the saintess of the Nangong family. Hand over the devouring starry sky, and I will leave your corpse intact. So what if I die? The Nangong family has long been rotten. As the saintess, what I care about is finding the best owner for the devouring starry sky, not leaving it in the hands of corrupt people like the Nangong family. Nangong Ming, you are courting death. Lin Yu felt a sharp pain in his head. It seemed that the voice had stopped there, and the person who left the voice couldn't transmit his voice again because of some reason. However, Lin Yu still remembered a name. Nangong Ming. Who was she? Lin Yu returned to the starting point. At this moment, he was still above the galaxy Silver Sea, but his body could move freely. Fan Jinjin, on the other hand, had entered the state of breakthrough after 3 hours of exercise with Lin Yu. Lin Yu channeled qi into Fan Jinjin's body and sent the power of the 3 elements into one. It seemed that because the power here was compatible with Fan Jinjin, and Lin Yu had already made love with Fan Jinjin could perfectly absorb his 3 elements into one. If that's the case, you might be able to step into the 3 elements into one like me. With this thought in mind, Lin Yu used the power in his body to form 3 more circulations in Fan Jinjin's body. Every circulatory cycle. They represented the balanced state of battle physique, the balanced state of cultivation, and the balanced state of spiritual force. That was Lin Yu's comprehension of the balanced state. Fan Jinjin closed her eyes and had already entered a cross-legged state of meditation. She was comprehending the most precious thing that Lin Yu had given her. As for Lin Yu, while waiting, he once again looked at the star that was extremely similar to Earth. With a thought, a wave of power surged out of his body, causing his body to no longer be in an absolute vacuum state. With a thought, Lin Yu appeared outside the star. Here, Lin Yu's mind rumbled. He hadn't been so shocked in a long time, because he saw the 7 continents, the sun, and the moon that surrounded Earth. He also saw Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Pluto, and Neptune. This was the solar system. I didn't see wrongly from the beginning. Lin Yu took a closer look. On Earth, he saw Asia and Huaxia. That was his former home. Chapter 751. This Milky Way Silver Sea is connected to Earth. Lin Yu was extremely shocked. His breathing was rapid, and he wanted to get closer again. However, there seemed to be a barrier between Earth and him. Lin Yu walked to the edge of Earth's atmosphere and couldn't go any further. Is this place also changing? Lin Yu saw that the atmosphere on Earth was constantly surging. A force that was exactly the same as the one in his body was pouring into Earth. This force swept across the entire world. Lin Yu was sure that it wasn't glory qi, nor was it an ordinary airflow. Earth has changed. Lin Yu punched the barrier in front of him, but he couldn't open it at all. Although the force wasn't reflected back, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was no reaction at all. At this moment, in the Earth, a pair of eyes opened in the 2 huge holes in the atmosphere. These eyes were very similar to a human's, but they were full of coldness and death. This pair of eyes was not the eyes of a real human, but an artificial eye simulated by a machine. Those eyes locked onto Lin Yu. Outside the atmosphere, there was an extremely strong repulsive force. This force forced Lin Yu back half a step, but it was only half a step. With Lin Yu's strength today, the mechanical eyes didn't seem to be able to interfere too much. They could only show Lin Yu an attitude of not letting strangers in. Can I go in now? Lin Yu felt the hostility from the mechanical eyes. He couldn't return to Earth. Instead, he was treated as an outsider and was isolated outside. But that was his former home. While Lin Yu was thinking, the Milky Way Silver Sea around him began to shake. It seemed that this world couldn't exist for too long. It wasn't the world of Earth that was shaking, but the Milky Way Silver Sea, where Lin Yu was located, the universe passage connecting Earth and the solar system was collapsing. Lin Yu propped up his hands. Azura formed a loud sound. He wanted to maintain the world here. This was because this was the first time he had found a connection between his transmigration and the Earth where he used to be. Once it was broken, Lin Yu might never be able to find his way back. However, when the Milky Way Silver Sea collapsed, Azura's power was still too insignificant. Lin Yu felt that his strength was still too weak compared to the true power of the universe. He was unwilling to give up, but Azura had already begun to crumble. At this moment, a pair of jade-like hands pulled him back. Let's go. Fan Jinjin looked at Lin Yu worriedly and pulled him back. As Lin Yu left, the galaxy passage leading to Earth crumbled at a speed visible to the naked eye before Lin Yu. Lin Yu's gaze turned serious as the scene before him changed again. The 2 of them had actually arrived in a cave. This was an ordinary cave. As far as the eye could see, there were only simple stone walls and rocks. Have we been here all this time? Lin Yu asked. When he looked at Fan Jinjin, he realized that she had an otherworldly temperament at this moment. The Milky Way silver sea left behind by Mother has disappeared. Fan Jinjin nodded. She had a rough idea of what had happened, but there was still a hint of loneliness in her eyes. This was the last thing her mother had left for her. But now, it seemed that after her breakthrough and Lin Yu inherited the power in it, it had completed its final mission and completely dissipated. Big brother Lin Yu, thank you. Fan Jinjin was now in the three elements in one equilibrium state. Even Lin Yu was a little surprised. He reached out his hand and asked Fan Jinjin to give him her wrist. Fan Jinjin nodded obediently. Lin Yu held her wrist and checked the changes in her body. It was indeed the same as her appearance. She was in the three elements in one equilibrium state. Although her cultivation was not as powerful as Lin Yu's, it was close. Big brother Lin Yu, you know how to treat illnesses? Fan Jinjin teased and stuck out her tongue. Because of Lin Yu's nourishment, her originally tender face now had a hint of charm that it did not have before. A little. Lin Yu let go of her hand. Do you know your current state? Yes. Fan Jinjin nodded. It was Big Brother Lin Yu who helped me enter the equilibrium state. Moreover, it seems that my equilibrium state is different from Father and the others. Have you heard of the three elements in one equilibrium? Three elements in one equilibrium? Fan Jinjin's breathing quickened. She had read many ancient books since she was young. She knew the origin of the celestial fate elixir when she was in the seventh ocean. Fan Jinjin had also read about the power of the three elements in one equilibrium in some ancient books. Cultivators are divided into combat cultivators, divine cultivators, and chi cultivators. Ordinary cultivators who can cultivate one of the three elements to the extreme are already rare geniuses. However, legend has it that in ancient times, cultivators cultivated all three elements simultaneously. However, this cultivation method has long been lost. Fan Jinjin answered Lin Yu's question with a serious face. It's not that no later cultivators have tried to combine the three elements into one, but most of them failed. For thousands of years, those who tried to cultivate either suffered from qigong deviation or died from the mutual rejection of the three elements in their bodies. Therefore, as time passed, this cultivation method of the three elements in one equilibrium was regarded as an evil cultivation method or a cultivation method that did not exist at all. Therefore, no one dared to cultivate it. Lin Yu nodded. Although it was different from the description of the Sky Desert universe, this was the boundless sea, and it had its own history. That's right. It's very dangerous, but it's also very powerful if you cultivate it successfully. Lin Yu said, although you have cultivated the three elements in one equilibrium, it's still not very stable. If you have time, I still need to help you tidy up your aura. Okay. Fan Jinjin pursed her lips. Thinking of the 6 hours she spent with Lin Yu, she couldn't help but blush. But then she remembered that Lin Yu didn't like her. 6 hours ago, Lin Yu's answer clearly told her that he just didn't dislike her. What happened just now? Before Lin Yu could finish, Fan Jinjin interrupted. Big brother Lin Yu. Fan Jinjin whispered something in his ear. Lin Yu could only nod. It wasn't time for him to have children, and Fan Jinjin was right. But my feelings for you won't change. I really don't need you to take responsibility for me, Lin Yu. This time is enough. Fan Jinjin mustered up her courage. At this moment, a sound came from outside the stone wall. It was Fan Tong and the others searching for her. Jinjin, are you in there? Fan Tong sensed the fluctuation of the formation on the stone wall, mainly because of the disturbance caused by Fan Jinjin's breakthrough and the dissipation of the illusion of the Milky Way Silver Sea, which was perceived by the outside world. Yes. Fan Jinjin looked at Lin Yu and patted his hand. Big brother Lin Yu, stay here and don't speak. Come out after I send Father and the others away. Chapter 752. You watched Fan Jinjin's actions. Lin Yu suddenly had a feeling of being protected. He felt that Fan Jinjin had matured a lot. Could it be that something could change a woman? Could it turn the immature Fan Jinjin into a mature woman? Lin Yu overheard the conversation between Fan Jinjin and Fan Tong when Fan Jinjin left. I'm sorry for making you worry. Breakthrough. Not bad. It's the energy of the equalization state. Fan Tong observed Fan Jinjin's aura. It was stable and restrained, and it even exuded a sense of pressure. Even as her father, he was a little surprised. My child, you're in the equalization state. You're very powerful, Fan Tong said. Fan Jinjin was nervous. Oh, really? Fan Tong's sharp eyes saw through Fan Jinjin's guilty conscience. My child, why are you breaking through here at night? Why not stay in your room? Before you came here, did you see Fan Jian? I was outside Lin Yu's guest hall, and I saw Fan Jian and 2 other disciples being killed. About that, Fan Tong suspected Lin Yu, but he didn't know the details. He didn't dare to jump to conclusions. Also, why did my daughter become so much prettier? Your current appearance greatly resembles your mother's. Fan Jinjin was stunned by the 3 consecutive questions. It has nothing to do with Brother Lin Yu. I killed Fan Jian. You? Fan Tong didn't believe her. You don't have such powerful skills. Fan Jian's death was a little cruel. His head was crushed. The 2 disciples were killed with a sword. The killer's swordsmanship is better than yours. Do you think I don't know what my daughter is capable of? Fan Tong narrowed his eyes. He already had an idea. Fan Jinjin already knew about Fan Jian's death and brought Lin Yu with her. It was very likely that the 2 of them conspired to kill Fan Jian. Jinjin, are you hiding something from me? Fan Tong continued to ask. His sharp eyes noticed a bloodstain on Fan Jinjin's skirt. Seeing this, Fan Jinjin also lowered her head. When she saw the bloodstains, a sudden surge of blood rushed up, flushing her neck and pretty face. Naturally, she knew that it was stained after Lin Yu was done with her. However, he didn't expect that his father would see it. This daughter, Fan Tong looked at Fan Jinjin in surprise. Could it be that you? Fan Jinjin's face was as red as blood. Father, it's not what you think. See, Lord Fan, why are you here? Just as Fan Jinjin was extremely nervous, Lin Yu's voice sounded. Sir Lin, you're here too? Fan Tong glanced at his daughter and snorted softly before walking towards Lin Yu. The 2 clasped their fists. Lin Yu greeted Fan Tong, then looked at Fan Jinjin. You can go back first. I have something to say to see Lord Fan. Brother Lin Yu. Fan Jinjin's heart was pounding. She was very happy that Lin Yu had stepped in. She felt like she was being protected by Lin Yu. However, Fan Jinjin didn't want to make things difficult for Lin Yu. It's fine. You can go back first. Lin Yu said again. Fan Tong also sensed that something was amiss. Something was amiss between the 2 of them. Jinjin, you can go back first. I want to hear what Sir Lin has to say to me. Father, what? Are you afraid that I'll make things difficult for Sir Lin? Fan Jinjin could only leave with a worried expression. She seemed to be leaving, but in reality, she was still watching from afar. However, Lin Yu was brought back to the main hall by Fan Tong. Fan Jinjin followed them and heard their conversation from outside the door. Boy, do you have something to say to me? Fan Tong stood with his hands behind his back, looking more like a father. Even though he knew that Lin Yu wasn't an ordinary person, he needed to play the role of a father at this moment. He needed to see what his daughter and the man she liked were doing in the middle of the night. Commander Fan, you must have guessed something. The blood on Jinjin's body. Before Lin Yu could finish, Fan Tong snorted. Of course I know. You 2 conspired to kill Fan Jian. That's his blood, but you didn't have time to deal with it. How dare you hide? Tell me, why did you kill Fan Jian? No matter what, he was still my disciple. You killed him because no one in the 6th Ocean Domain can use that kind of sword technique. You're the only one who can do it, you little brat. Fan Tong said. His words interrupted Lin Yu's train of thought. Lin Yu blinked. What he wanted to say was that the blood was Fan Jinjin's. What? You're going to keep quiet after killing my people? You're indebted to the 6th Sea, but Lin Yu, you should at least give me some face. Fan Tong's voice rang out again. Lin Yu had no choice but to explain what Fan Jian had done. Hearing this, Fan Tong was furious. He slammed his palm onto the golden chair, causing it to shatter into pieces. Bastard, he brought people to do something to my daughter. Men, drag Fan Jian's body out and beat it. Master, it's already been buried. Then drag it out. Fan Tong's face was red with anger. It took him a while to calm down. Then what happened after that must have been a shock to my daughter. She took the opportunity to break through. Fan Tong made up his own story. Lin Yu's face twitched. That made sense. Moreover, he'd asked Fan Jinjin. She and her mother were the only ones who knew about the Silver Sea of Stars. Lin Yu had no right to tell Fan Tong about it, if even Fan Tong didn't know about it. Let's just assume that's the case. Lin Yu grunted in resignation. Fan Tong laughed. It's really a blessing in disguise. It's all thanks to you. He wasn't worried that Lin Yu was lying. He'd asked Fan Jinjin about what Fan Jian had done to Fan Jinjin. Actually, I've gained something as well. Lin Yu smiled casually. He didn't say explicitly, but he was referring to the two major gains he'd made in the Silver Sea of Stars. First, he'd gained the Devouring Star's divine ability, which was stronger than the 8 tribes of Taishu. Second, he learned that there was still a stargate between this world and Earth. He'd have a chance to return to Earth. I won't shortchange you. Don't worry. Fan Tong misunderstood Lin Yu again. Lin Yu felt a little helpless after hearing that, so he changed the topic. He wanted to know more. Master Fan, have you heard of Nangong Ming? Fan Tong's expression changed drastically. What did you say? Nangong Ming. Lin Yu repeated. Did Jinjin tell you her mother's name? Nangong Ming is Jinjin's mother? Lin Yu roughly understood. It turned out that the illusion he'd seen when he was imparted the divine ability was left by Fan Jinjin's mother. Chapter 753. In that case, everything made sense. Nangong Ming had left behind a divine ability, but for some reason, the mother and daughter couldn't cultivate it. They could only pass it on to others. Lin Yu didn't know why Nangong Ming hadn't passed it on to Fan Tong. If Fan Tong had a divine ability, he probably wouldn't be at his current level, and the 8th Sea wouldn't have attacked him back then. It seems that silly girl really thinks of you as one of her own, Fan Tong lamented. Fan Tong sighed. My wife passed away many years ago. Since Jinjin has told you about her background, I can tell you. He seemed to want to talk about these things with someone else. Lin Yu understood. Some memories had been hidden in the belly for too long, and one always wanted someone to listen to them. It just so happened that Lin Yu asked about this. Fan Tong's status, his relationship with the 6th Sea and Fan Jinjin made it possible for him to listen. But you must keep a secret. Rong's background is too great. If word gets out, the 6th Sea and even the Boundless Sea will face destruction, Fan Tong reminded. Fan Tong reminded him. If it were anyone else, they would probably be dead the moment they heard that name. But you're different. You're the one that the silly girl likes. I understand. Lin Yu nodded. Fan Tong's eyes flashed with reminiscence. Rong came from the Nangong family on the primitive continent. Back then, she was their holy girl. The Nangong family was so powerful that you could think of it as 10 times the Boundless Sea. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. Although he'd already guessed the Nangong family's power from the illusion, he was still surprised to hear Fan Tong's words. She was a proper rich woman. How had Fan Tong met her back then? Don't judge me by my looks now. I was about as handsome as you when I was young. Fan Tong seemed to sense the confusion in Lin Yu's eyes and snorted out of a man's intuition. Rong is the saintess. She's guarding something. This thing is divided into primary and secondary. The secondary one is in the Nangong family, while the primary one is with Rong. Later on, the Nangong family became corrupt and deviated from Rong's mission as a saintess. She chose to find a new successor for what she was protecting instead of choosing a successor from the corrupted Nangong family. Rong was accused of betraying the clan. She was smart enough to sense the ambition and threat of the Nangong family, so she ran away in advance. A smile that hadn't appeared on Fan Tong's face for a long time. At the time, Ro was injured and fled to the Realm Sea. I happened to run into her and saved her. After that, she followed me back to the Endless Sea. This old one knows that the reason why Jean was with me at that time was only because the Realm Sea and the Primordial Forest stood on equal footing, cannot be violated. Even someone as powerful as the Nangong clan wouldn't violate the taboo of these 3 regions. That is why she was safe in the Realm Sea. Unfortunately, Rong Er's injuries were too severe. She was also worried that she wouldn't be able to find a successor for what she took from the Nangong family. As time passed, her injuries relapsed, and she left me forever. Fan Tong recounted his relationship with Rong. Lin Yu fell silent, carefully listening to the twists and turns of the story. He also heard Fan Tong's choked sobs. Rong once said that the inheritance was related to Jinjin. Jinjin had another name, but Rong and I decided to keep it secret. Fan Tong's emotions had reached a boiling point. He might as well tell Lin Yu everything. When she was born, I was grateful to Rong, so I gave Jinjin her surname, Nangongyu. Nangongyu, Lin Yu murmured to himself. So that was Fan Jinjin's real name. Logically speaking, she should be the next saintess of the Nangong family. It's just that she's stuck in the 6th sea. Fan Tong blamed himself. I told you before that I hoped to bring the 6th sea to greater heights in my lifetime, and even enter the Middle Sea. In reality, it was all because of Rong and Jinjin. Unfortunately, Fan Tong's abilities are limited. He'll spend his entire life at the peak of the equalization state. He won't even be able to enter the next level. Fan Tong patted Lin Yu's shoulder. When Rong was alive, she searched for a long time, but she couldn't find anyone who could inherit her Nangong family's legacy. But you're a smart kid. I believe you'll have a chance. Worried about his daughter, he added, although Jinjin isn't as good as you, I believe she'll achieve great things in the future. Perhaps she'll be a good match for you. This was the strong words of an old father. He valued Lin Yu and acknowledged Lin Yu's abilities. But at the same time, his daughter had always been his pride. Lin Yu understands. If Jinjin needs anything, Lin Yu will do his best, just like last night. Fan Tong didn't know if Lin Yu was referring to the 6 hours or Fan Jian's molestation. But in Fan Tong's opinion, this was enough for the young man. Lin Yu exchanged a few more words with Fan Tong. He already knew everything he needed to know. As for the devouring starry skies in his body, there was a primary and a secondary. According to Fan Tong, the primary devouring starry skies could restrain and absorb the secondary devouring starry skies to reach a complete state. If that was the case, the devouring starry skies could be even more powerful. In the history of the Sky Desert universe, only 5 theurgies have appeared. Now, only the 8 steps of Taishu and the 7 steps of heaven trampling passed down by Emperor murdering ancestor. The 7 steps of heaven trampling are incomplete. Although my 8 steps of great void are complete, it's too difficult to cultivate and my progress is slow. I've only cultivated the 4th part of the dragon form, Yiksha, Garuda, and Azura. The remaining 4 parts are extremely difficult to cultivate. Whether it's in terms of comprehension or one's own strength, it's simply unimaginable. There are no records of the devouring starry skies in the Sky Desert universe, so it's not included in the 5 theurgies. It seems that the Realm Sea, the Primeval Forest, and the Realm Domain have their own theurgies, and their power is the same as the 5 theurgies recorded in the Sky Desert universe. With this in mind, Lin Yu planned to find a chance to test the power of the devouring starry skies. If he met the Nangong family one day, he could fight them. As for Nangong Ming's last wish, it was also confirmed by the illusion and Fan Tong, and imprinted in Lin Yu's mind. She wanted to change the Nangong family and let the Nangong family return to its former glory. Most importantly, she hoped that Fan Jinjin could one day use the name Nangongyu to stand in the Nangong family. But Nangong Ming couldn't do this, so it fell on Fan Jinjin, who was also Nangongyu, and Lin Yu. This is too far away. Let's talk about it later. Lin Yu left the Sea Lord Palace. Fan Tong looked at Lin Yu's figure from afar and recalled his life with Nangong Ming. This child seems to have a better impression of Jinjin. Tong, did you arrange this marriage? Chapter 754. You're a mysterious and powerful woman. I've always felt that I wasn't good enough for you. Please don't blame me. At first, I didn't want you to be like me, forced to stay by Lin Yu's side and become a lowly woman. I don't want her to be like that. After leaving the palace, Lin Yu returned to his residence. Fan Jinjin followed him all the way. Come out. Lin Yu Gij, I'm just worried about you. Outside the guest hall, Lin Yu hugged Fan Jinjin. You're so beautiful. At this moment, Fan Jinjin's beauty and temperament had reached the pinnacle. You're the second woman I've met who's cultivated 3 elements in one. Being so close to Lin Yu, Fan Jinjin could even hear his breathing. Her delicate body trembled. Even though she had already had sex with Lin Yu once, she still retained the innocence of a young girl who had just experienced her first awakening of love. Who's the first? Fan Jinjin couldn't help but ask. But as soon as the words left her mouth, she knew she was being silly. A smart woman shouldn't ask such things. If she wasn't careful, she might accidentally reveal Lin Yu's past relationship. Wouldn't that be asking for trouble? She's a woman I think is very good. Then I have... Lin Yu smiled faintly. Before Fan Jinjin could ask any more questions, he picked her up. Fan Jinjin gasped. Lin Yu Gij, what are you doing? I'm hungry. I want to eat something. Then I'll go heat up some dishes for you. Fan Jinjin squirmed in Lin Yu's arms. The latter shook his head. It's fine. I'll heat it up myself. Then he carried Fan Jinjin, who was buried in his shoulder, into the bedroom. Ocean Lord Palace. Fan Tong also received the news that someone saw Fan Jinjin being carried into the room by Lin Yu. Fan Tong was furious. Preposterous. This brat is so brazen. Then, did the young Sea Lord resist? No. If the young Sea Lord had resisted, we would have already captured that brat. However, not only did the young Sea Lord not resist, he even looked very happy. The scout knelt down and said, Ocean Lord, should we do something? We've been in there for an hour. It's done an hour. What else can we do? Fan Tong shook his head helplessly. Fan Jinjin had volunteered, so what else could he say? A grown girl can't be kept at home. In the future, you are not allowed to interfere in their affairs. Even if you see them, you have to scram as far as you can. The scout was flabbergasted. Sea Lord, 2 years ago, a genius from the 13th Sea Domain, was rejected by the young Sea Lord. He secretly came to find the young Sea Lord at night. This subordinate remembers. At that time, he was even beaten out by the young Sea Lord. Ocean Lord, after you found out about this, you even chopped off that brat's hand. This time, are we just going to let Lin Yu off like this? He did not understand why Fan Tong was so magnanimous toward Lin Yu now. Logically speaking, that genius only wanted to sneak in to see Fan Jinjin, but his hand had already been chopped off. With Lin Yu's actions, not only did he chop off his hand, but he also probably chopped off his brother. How can Lin Yu be compared to those Tom, Dick, and Harry? Can't I hold a grandchild? Do I need you to be so nosy? As soon as he finished speaking, there was an ah sound, and the scout was directly kicked out by Fan Tong. In the guest hall, after 6 hours of battle, Fan Jinjin lay weakly on Lin Yu's body. I can't go on anymore. Rest. Lin Yu patted her Huiyang acupoint. I'm about to set off. The Sea Lord conference might be dangerous. You stay here and wait for Sea Lord Fan and I to come back. I can go with you. Fan Jinjin's bright eyes were filled with reluctance, and she hugged Lin Yu tightly again. You're squeezing me. Lin Yu's interest was aroused. He got up and straddled Fan Jinjin's body, and they started fighting again. You can't bear to part with him? Yes. I can't bear to part with brother Lin Yu. After a long time, Lin Yu lay down again and said with a serious face, there are many things waiting to be done in the Sixth Ocean. With your current skills, you can protect the peace here. Before Fan Jian died, he said that the matter of the sea burial secret treasure was leaked. This matter will probably attract the attention of other Sea Lords. If someone secretly attacks the Sixth Ocean during the Sea Lord Conference, you can stay here and have a backup plan. Fan Jinjin nodded obediently. Does father know about this? No. Hearing this, Fan Jinjin hugged Lin Yu even tighter. Suddenly, she felt that Lin Yu had already planned further than her father. Brother wants it, sister wants it too. Outside the Sixth Ocean, Fan Tong's warship had been waiting for a long time. Only now did he see Lin Yu arrive. Fan Jinjin followed beside him with a sweet face. When she saw Fan Tong, she shyly turned her face away. It seems that the two of you want me to hold my grandson soon, Fan Tong said meaningfully. Fan Tong said meaningfully. The spy reported that Fan Jinjin had been in Lin Yu's guest hall for a full 18 hours. Because of Fan Tong's words, Fan Jinjin immediately lowered her head, her face extremely red. "Father, be careful. Brother Lin Yu, be careful." Fan Jinjin reluctantly let go. Lin Yu and Fan Tong went to the Sea Lord Conference. It was in the first ocean of the boundless sea's 33 oceans. This time, Fan Tong only brought Lin Yu. Most of his forces were left in the sixth ocean. Although he didn't think as much as Lin Yu, Fan Tong also knew that he had to leave some backup forces for the sixth ocean, especially when Fan Jinjin was there. It's right in front. The sixth ocean and the first ocean are relatively close. We should arrive in 2 hours. Fan Tong explained to Lin Yu along the way. He didn't treat Lin Yu as an outsider anymore. There should be 10 old guys coming this time. I wonder how their realms are. 10? Isn't it the 33 ocean? Lin Yu thought it didn't make sense. Then he thought of something. Have the other oceans been annexed? You're smart, kid. You figured it out so quickly. Fan Tong admired Lin Yu even more. Tell me, how did you figure it out? Lin Yu said honestly, it's impossible for Venerable Boundless to not know about the 8th sea domain attacking the 6th sea domain. Even if he didn't hear about it, he personally came to the 6th sea domain and saw the traces of the battle there. However, he didn't do anything. This only means that he allowed the civil war to take place. Since the ruler allowed the civil war, the other sea regions of the Boundless Sea will inevitably have other wars over the years. Annexation of each other is inevitable. Fan Tong clapped his hands. My daughter's vision is as good as her mother's. You're right. There are only 10 oceans left in the 33 ocean. Originally, there were 11, but Ji Songliang courted death. Now, there are only 10 left. Let me test you again. The Sea Lord Conference has another meaning. Can you guess? Chapter 755. The Purpose of the Sea Masters Meeting. Fan Tong knew that if he were to ask someone else, they would probably be baffled. However, this was obviously a tricky question. It was also a test that Fan Tong wanted to test Lin Yu. Is it to display the strength of each sea region? Lin Yu said casually. The older generation liked to test the younger generation. This was a sign of respect, and he could understand it. Logically speaking, Lin Yu guessed that the Sea Masters meeting would be similar to the Hongmeng duel on the Hongmeng continent. That's right, but how do you know? Fan Tong nodded, as if he had agreed with Lin Yu's answer. Since the sea regions allow infighting, there must be some probing before the infighting. Otherwise, how would they know the strength of the other sea regions? Even if they don't want to fight, the Sea Masters meeting will become the best way for them to test the strength of the other sea regions. Fan Tong laughed and clapped his hands. Not bad, not bad. Lin Yu, you are the smartest young man I have ever met. However, the Sea Masters meeting this time, before Fan Tong could finish, Lin Yu interrupted him. It's different this time. I think there will be a greater meaning behind it. It will probably affect the ranking of the remaining 10 great sea regions. Fan Tong was flabbergasted. If it was just a moment ago, it could be deduced using common sense. But now, how did Lin Yu see through it? You brat, tell me. Lin Yu nodded. If the purpose of the Sea Masters meeting is to test the strength of the other sea regions, then the weaker sea regions will definitely use this opportunity to avoid being found out. In the past, there were probably many sea regions that were unwilling to show their faces. However, Venerable Wia personally asked you to attend this time. This means that it's different this time. Lin Yu hid one sentence. With Fan Tong's personality and the 6 sea regions' battle prowess, there should be Fan Jian and Fan Jinjin below him. Although the current Fan Jinjin was powerful, the previous Fan Jinjin was far from it. Therefore, the 6th sea region was not suitable for the Sea Masters meeting. Since Venerable Wuya had personally come and ordered Fan Tong to attend, it could only mean that Fan Tong had avoided battles before. This time, Venerable Wuya did not agree with him. This also showed that the Sea Masters meeting this time was different from the previous ones. Good lad, I take back my words. Fan Tong clapped his hands and looked at Lin Yu with satisfaction. It's not just the younger generation. I don't think even the older ones are better at strategy than you. After Lin Yu voiced his conjecture, he still asked humbly, "However, I still don't know the specifics of this Sea Lord meeting." "That's normal. If you knew, this old man might suspect that you're a spy from another sea." Fan Tong joked, then explained himself. "This meeting is indeed different from the previous ones. This time, it's to choose the sequence of the 7 seas, so I had no choice but to bring you along." Lin Yu nodded. Fan Tong continued, "Every 1,000 years, the 7 seas of the world sea will choose the sequence of the 7 seas. These people are the top geniuses of the world sea, the strongest of the younger generation. They can compete with the sequence of the primitive continent. There's also the heaven domain, which also has 7 sequences. The 3 realms have a total of 21 sequences, plus other scattered regions." A vast map of the world appeared in front of Fan Tong's eyes. 1 from the ghost domain, 1 from the demon domain, 2 from the Western Sumeru sect, 2 from a demonic sect, and 2 from the Dongxing sect. A total of 29 sequences. The sequence of the sequence represents the strongest of the younger generation in the 3 realms. They will receive the best resources. Lin Yu narrowed his eyes. So, other than the heaven domain, the primitive continent, and the world sea, there were other scattered forces. The best resources? Lin Yu asked. Fan Tong nodded. The younger generation of the sequence can take the heavenly god ranking as their master. The heavenly god ranking is the ranking of the strongest in this world. The current number 1 is the 6-winged divine king of the heaven domain. He controls the largest heaven domain power. The number 2 on the heavenly god ranking is the Vairocana Buddha from the primitive continent who has been meditating for 10,000 years. He is the same as the 6-winged divine king. He has not made a move for 10 million years. As for the number 3, Lin Yu thought it was the boss of the world sea's turn. Who knew that Fan Tong would hesitate? The number 3 is missing. Where did he go? Is he dead? There are too many rumors, but no one has confirmed it. As for the 4th and 5th, they are creatures from outside the 3 realms. And our number 1 venerable of the world sea is number 8. Lin Yu's face twitched. The world sea is so weak. Fan Tong coughed helplessly. The world sea's territory is inferior to the heaven domain and the primitive continent. Adding on all the other reasons, it can only be the weakest link of the 3 realms for now. You will know the reason for this in the future. Fan Tong patted Lin Yu's shoulder. I will give you the chance to fight in the 6th sea region. If you can win, you can represent the boundless sea and become one of the 7 great sequences of the world sea. Once you gain a foothold, you'll have the chance to find a heavenly god ranking expert as your master. That is the greatest fortune of the 3 realms. Fan Tong heard Lin Yu's silence and was afraid the other would feel pressured. So he said, "Don't worry, the sequence battle is held once every 100 years. Even if you fail this time, this old man will give you the next chance, so you don't need to worry." "Thank you, Sea Lord Fan." Lin Yu couldn't help but clasp his hands in thanks. For Fan Tong to say this much, it was enough to show how much he valued him. Lin Yu felt flattered to be able to receive such attention from a senior in such a short time. Most likely, it was because of Fan Jinjin. Sigh, could this be the benefit of being associated with a rich 2nd generation? "Kid, what are you thinking about?" Lin Yu snapped out of his daze and asked seriously, "Is Venerable Boundless on the heavenly god ranking?" "Yes." Fan Tong nodded. Venerable Boundless was once one of the top few on the sequence ranking. Later, he stepped into the Spirit King realm and is now 30th on the heavenly god ranking. For the time being, he is the weakest. Spirit King realm. Lin Yu remembered Fan Jinjin telling him about the cultivation levels of the 3 realms. The balanced realm was the balanced great emperor of the sky desert universe. The 4 symbols realm was half-step into Empyrean Immortal. The 10,000 spirits realm was Ling Zhao's former peak, a perfect Empyrean Immortal. The Spirit King realm was a realm Lin Yu had never seen before. Fan Tong saw his doubts and said, "The Spirit King realm is the basic requirement to be on the heavenly god ranking. Only those on the heavenly god ranking and the sequence ranking have the ability to be recognized by everyone in the three realms. Chapter 756. As for what the Spirit King realm is, I don't know. I only know that my 9 paths of equalization would not be able to withstand a single glance from a venerable. That's how terrifying the Spirit King realm is. Lin Yu nodded. He had met Venerable Wu Yao once and knew how powerful the Spirit King realm was. At that time, Venerable Wu Yao had restrained his aura and only said a few words, but Lin Yu already felt a strong sense of oppression. If they really fought, Lin Yu's condition would not be much better than Fan Tong's. You're still young. You'll know about these realms in the future. I'm afraid I won't have a chance in this life. Fan Tong said with emotion. He seemed to have aged a little. After the battle in the Sixth Sea, although Fan Tong escaped death, his fighting spirit seemed to have been destroyed. Coupled with his aging, he was powerless. That was why Fan Tong trusted Lin Yu so much. With his relationship with Fan Jinjin, Lin Yu was basically the future master of the Sixth Sea. We're here. The worship of the Sixth Sea began to slow down. Lin Yu saw a huge door in front of them. It was a very simple arched gate. However, even though it was very simple, the gate emitted a very tyrannical, oppressive might. That's the entrance to the First Sea. Isn't it domineering? Fan Tong's eyes were filled with envy. The aura from above has 2 functions. First, it's to test the qualifications of the visitors. Second, the First Sea is pressuring all visitors. It's telling us that the First Sea is the strongest among the 33 seas. Lin Yu did not speak. He saw that the warships had begun to line up. There were warships from other seas in front of them. They were the 4th to arrive in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seas. The warships in front of them seemed to have noticed the arrival of the 6th sea. The one closest to Lin Yu was the warship of the 4th sea. At the front of the warship, a subordinate reported, "Sea Lord, Senior Brother Mu, the 6th and 5th seas are here." The person in front of him was none other than the Sea Lord of the 4th sea domain, Mu Tian. Fan Tong's people are not worth mentioning, but the 5th sea, I heard that the person who came this time is called Lin Yuan, a disciple of the Lord of the 5th sea. Never heard of it. Mu Tian said coldly, his face full of arrogance and disdain. Hee, I'm very pleased that War Sky is so confident. I'll be counting on you for this sequence battle. Bai Yanlang, the master of the 4th ocean, looked at Mu Tian with admiration, but still reminded him worriedly, I heard that Lin Yuan is not simple. He is only in his teens, but he is already a master of the 4-symbol state. Moreover, he majored in the battle physique. I have seen him once. That kid's eyes are clear, but his willpower is incomparably firm. Any genius is nothing but a stepping stone in my hands. Mu Tian snorted and didn't even look at the warship behind him. Listen carefully. Bai Yanlang couldn't say anything and just glanced at the people of the 6th sea. Fan Tong, this guy, actually dares to come, with Fan Jinjin and Fan Jian in his hands? No. Fan Tong has never attended the Sea Lord Conference. Could it be that the Venerable asked him to come? The purpose of the Sea Lord Conference is not known to all Sea Lords. Even Fan Tong told Lin Yu the conclusion because of his experienced means and after discussing it with Xiao Yin Yao of the 7th Sea. Sea Lord Fan, long time no see. The warship of the 5th Sea approached Fan Tong and the others and shouted from a distance. Fan Tong also smiled back, at the same time reminded Lin Yu, this is the Lord of the 5th Sea, Yangju. At the same time, Fan Tong's gaze fell on the boy next to Yangju. Under the calm gaze of the boy, it was as deep and restrained as the abyss. Even an old fox like Fan Tong felt that this person's aura was great when he saw Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan also looked over at the same time. With just a glance, his calm expression was actually rippling. He bowed from a distance and took a few steps forward, almost flying directly to the warship of the 6th sea. Lin Yu's eyes flickered, and Lin Yuan understood and stopped. Kid, you actually know how to greet people? Yangju looked at Lin Yuan in surprise. Although he had only known Lin Yuan for a few days, Lin Yuan gave him the feeling that he was a kid with nothing in his eyes. Even the face of him, Lin Yuan had never been so respectful. It's just that Yang Ju was thirsty for talent, and in front of Lin Yuan's talent, these small problems became his personality. "See, Lord Yang Ju, long time no see. This must be the new disciple you recently accepted, right?" Fan Tong bowed to Yang Ju, but still glanced at Lin Yuan. At such a young age, he is already a combat cultivator of the four-symbol state. "See, Lord Yang Ju, are you sure you can be his master?" "See, Lord Fan, I really can't teach this kid Lin Yuan, but he is willing to join my 5th C. How can I refuse such a good talent?" Yang Ju obviously also valued Lin Yuan very much, and between his words, there was no pressure on his subordinates. Instead, it was more of a kind of respect and fear. "See, Lord Yang Ju is lucky." Fan Tong smiled, "But my luck is not bad either. This Lin Yu is my helper this time, and his skills are also extremely powerful." Although he couldn't see through Lin Yu's cultivation, Yang Ju also heard a few meanings from Fan Tong's tone. He looked at Lin Yu, who had no cultivation, but his temperament was excellent. Especially in this kind of place where experts gathered to still be able to maintain such composure, this person was not simple. It seems that Sea Lord Fan is a strong competitor of our Lin Yuan this time. As soon as Yang Ju's voice fell, he heard hearty laughter in the distance. The warships of the 10th Sea and the 18th Sea had arrived. Following closely behind were the warships of the 22nd Sea. At this moment, outside the entrance of the 1st Sea, 8 warships had already gathered, and only the 7th Sea's Xiao Yinyao was left. "Oh, Sea Lord Yang Ju, Sea Lord Fan, you two dare to attend the Sea Lord meeting this year?" It turned out to be the 10th Sea Lord Fire Buddha. Fan Tong and Yang Ju looked at each other and smiled, and at the same time, there was fear in their eyes. The 10th Sea Lord was a red-haired old man, with 108 fist-sized Buddhist beads around his neck. Beside him were also people from the 10th Sea. Among them, the most eye-catching one was a man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. This person looked to be in his 20s, dressed in a golden Buddhist robe, and his status was obviously higher than the other disciples. He stood beside Fire Buddha, and his eyes quickly locked on Lin Yuan and Lin Yu. Chapter 757. However, he only glanced at Lin Yu. He felt that Lin Yu's cultivation was not worthy of his attention, so he only looked at Lin Yuan. This person is Su Longxiang. He's in the 9th Tao of equalization. He has great attainments in Buddhism in the 10th Ocean. Fan Tong said softly, then went to greet the guests. Yang Ju followed closely behind. Only Lin Yuan kept looking at Lin Yu. His voice was a little hoarse. "Master, let's talk later," Lin Yu replied. They were in different camps, so it was not the time to recognize each other. After the 10th Ocean, Fan Tong also introduced the people of the other camps. Jiang Ying, the 18th Ocean Lord, and Jiang Bihan, a man in his 20s who was fighting for the sequence. He was in the 9th Tao of equalization and was good at formations. Shan Qingling, the 22nd Ocean Lord. Because the previous Ocean Lord died in battle, Shan Qingling became the Ocean Lord. However, the Venerable specially allowed her to participate in the sequence as the Ocean Lord. Shan Qingling was tall and graceful. Lin Yu looked at her a few more times. He only felt that this woman looked cold and unapproachable, like a high and mighty goddess. Shan Qingling did not like to socialize in front of the fake politeness of the Ocean Lords. Although she was the Ocean Lord, she did not speak. "This person is an alchemist. I heard from Junjun that you are also very good at alchemy. You can learn from Shan Qingling," Fan Tong said again. Lin Yu blinked and smiled. "Aren't you afraid that she and I—" "Hee. What are you afraid of? Shan Qingling is very noble. I've watched her grow up, and I've never heard of her falling in love with any man." Fan Tong looked at Lin Yu with disdain. Obviously, he felt that Shan Qingling must have treated Lin Yu the same way. "But if you really have the ability, I'll admit defeat. It's okay for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but you still have to treat Jinjin well." Fan Tong was very open-minded. This old man was once a young man, and I know that the more capable a man is, the more women he will have around him. You have no choice, I understand. Lin Yu's old face twitched. This guy was a little too open-minded. Suddenly, an earth-shattering sound came from the gate in front of everyone. Lin Yu turned around and saw that the pressure had formed a stone pillar above the arched door. For large words appeared on the stone pillar. Heaven, earth, black, yellow. That's the level of aptitude. Since ancient times, only the Doyens have reached the heaven level. As for the others, the most powerful was the first Ocean Lord, Grand Preceptor One, who reached the high earth level. Fan Tong explained, but that's only for the superficial. Let's not test it. Lin Yu nodded and immediately saw some clues in his eyes. He asked directly, "It seems that the results of Sea Lord Fan's previous test are not ideal." Puff! Fan Tong almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This old man hit it so well. How did you see through it? Lin Yu spread his hands. Who doesn't want to show off when they have the chance? Usually, those who say they don't want to show off are those who have been humiliated in the past, so they don't want to fight for it. Fan Tong's face darkened. You brat. Forget it. You're right. I was tested to have a yellow level aptitude, and it's the lowest level. I don't think it's accurate. Understood. Lin Yu nodded. In front of them, an old man walked out of the gate. The old man wore a purple robe and held a scepter in his right hand. His white hair fluttered in the wind, but his face was full of heroic spirit. He didn't look dispirited at all. At least, in Lin Yu's opinion, the old man's mental state was much better than Fan Tong's. He's Grand Preceptor One, the first Ocean Lord. Fan Tong said, his face full of fear. Is there a story? Lin Yu asked tentatively. Fan Tong snorted. That bastard once wanted to pursue Jinjin's mother, but I beat him back. He has a high earth-level aptitude, and you have a low yellow-level aptitude. Ocean Lord Fan, there's no need to hide anything from Lin Yu. All right. This old man knows that I can't hide anything from you. Although this old man was heavily injured in that battle, he didn't gain any benefits. In the end, it was my wife who warned him and attacked. Only then did this bastard let the matter go. Fan Tong's aura became more serious as he spoke. It seemed that after so many years, he still wanted to find a chance to fight Grand Preceptor One again. Everyone, the Ocean Lord Assembly this time, is a little special. According to the Venerable One's wishes, everyone who participates must pass the aptitude test. Grand Preceptor One smiled and waved his hand, gesturing for the man beside him to step forward. To be fair, I, the first Ocean Lord, will take the test first. This is my inner disciple, Tai Jian. His cultivation is at the second level of the 4-division stage. Grand Preceptor Wen's words sounded modest, but there was a sense of conceit in his words. After all, this was the first Ocean Lord's territory, and he had investigated the others from the beginning. No one's cultivation was comparable to Tai Jian's. Go, Grand Preceptor Wen said. The burly man beside him nodded and stood under the arched door. This is the first Ocean Lord's Dragon Gate. Once a Sea Lord passes through the Dragon Gate, you will know whether he is a dragon or a flood dragon. Grand Preceptor Wen explained deliberately. Except for Lin Yu and Lin Yuan, who were here for the first time, the others didn't need to be explained. But Lin Yu knew that Grand Preceptor Wen didn't deliberately say this for him to hear. When he said this, Grand Preceptor Wen glanced at Fan Tong. Bastard, this old man is openly mocking me. Fan Tong was flustered and exasperated. Lin Yu looked over again. The former could only nod helplessly. Yes, I have the lowest aptitude among all the Ocean Lords. Lin Yu smiled shyly. Although it didn't matter to him, it was still a little embarrassing. Soon, above the Dragon Gate, the heaven, earth, Xian, and Huang's symbols of aptitude began to vibrate. Huang was the lowest, while Tian was the highest. When Tai Jian stepped through the Dragon Gate, a golden light soared into the sky, directly crossing the Huang symbol and reaching the Xian symbol. The Xian symbol is instantaneous. This person is so talented. Legend has it that Tai Jian is the first heaven's pride of the first ocean, born after many years of waiting. He is the person of destiny, that grand preceptor when calculated according to the art of divination. That's why he trained him. Tai Jian seems to have some strength left. Look, the people below were discussing animatedly. The first person to take the test would attract a lot of attention. Soon, the golden light continued to climb in the Xian symbol. Low tier Xian, middle tier Xian, high tier Xian. Tai Jian looked down, the corners of his mouth raised, and he focused his mind again. The test of a dragon gate had nothing to do with cultivation. As long as the tester focused, it could see whether the tester was suitable for cultivation. The higher the aptitude of cultivation, the stronger the reaction of the golden light. At this moment, the golden light had already reached the low-tier earth symbol. That's terrifying. I've heard that those with the word earth are already 1 in a million geniuses. In the past, apart from Fan Tong of the 6th Sea region and Shan Qingling, who has never been tested, all the other ocean lords are earth. That's right. There is only one earth symbol among them, and that is our ocean lord one. The people of the first ocean said, coldly, incomparably arrogant. Tai Jian's golden light had already reached the mid-tier earth symbol. Chapter 758. Very good, very good. Grand Preceptor Wen smiled faintly, looking pleasantly surprised. Lin Yu looked at him from below and felt helpless. Grand Preceptor Wen probably already knew the result of the test. After all, the Dragon Gate belonged to the First Sea region. Tai Jian had already rehearsed it beforehand, which was why Grand Preceptor Wen dared to show it off. You're even better at pretending than me. Lin Yu couldn't help but say. The golden light had already reached the high-grade earth realm, shocking everyone present. This is the second genius of our boundless sea to reach the high-grade earth realm. Great teachers produce great disciples. Grand Preceptor Wen is the most talented person below the venerable realm. I didn't expect his disciple to also be the most talented. After reaching the high-grade earth realm, Tai Jian wanted to break through to the heaven realm that only the venerable realm could reach. But no matter what, he was still lacking. Come back, Grand Preceptor Wen ordered. Tai Jian had no choice but to return unwillingly. The Dragon Gate only looks at talent. It's useless no matter how hard you work. Instead, it's easy to backfire. How many times have I told you? Grand Preceptor Wen said coldly. Tai Jian bowed his head and admitted his mistake, but there was still some unwillingness in his eyes. What he wanted to do wasn't to be number one among the younger generation, but to surpass Grand Preceptor Wen. Unfortunately, he still failed. Everyone, my disciple has shown his incompetence. This is how the Dragon Gate tests. Everyone can start now. Grand Preceptor Wen was satisfied with the result, because he knew that the high-grade Earth realm was enough to crush everyone present. He wanted to kill everyone's spirit before the start of the sequence battle. What's so great about the high-grade Earth realm? The person at the front was from the Second Sea region. Situ Xiao. The high-grade Earth realm is the best result below the venerable realm. If you're not satisfied, you can go up and try. The person from the Third Sea region's warship shouted. On the warship stood an old man and a young man. The old man was the Second Sea region's lord, Situ Jingtian, and the young man was the Second Sea region's representative, Situ Xiao. Xiao. In that case, you can go up and try. Situ Jingtian said with a fake smile. Yes, master. Situ Xiao took a step forward and appeared on the Dragon Gate. So this is the famous genius of the Second Sea region, Situ Xiao. Come, let this old man see your talent. Grand Preceptor Wen smiled like a senior appreciating a junior. How could Situ Xiao not understand that he was waiting for him to embarrass himself? I'll give a try then. Situ Xiao focused his attention and closed his eyes. The golden light above his head immediately soared into the sky. Yellow, Xian, low tier, earth. Middle tier, earth. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. They actually did not expect that this Situ Xiao was so formidable. Even Tai Jian's mind was roaring. How did he suddenly reach the middle level of the earth level? Don't worry, he's still too young. Grand Preceptor Wen stopped Tai Jian and revealed a strange smile. On the 5th and 6th warships, Lin Yu and Lin Yuan were relatively close to each other, and he casually asked Lin Yuan, "What do you think?" "Trash," Lin Yuan said plainly. Hearing this, Yang Ju and Fan Tong's faces twitched. This brat is so arrogant. Fan Tong was surprised, but Yang Ju quickly calmed down because he was already used to it. From the beginning, when he saw Lin Yuan, the other party was already in a state of indifference. The more I think about it, Lin Yu smiled and said at the same time, "You should have a heaven grade." Hiss! Yang Ju sucked in a breath of air instantly. Even Fan Tong looked at Lin Yu in surprise. How come there is another arrogant person? Heaven grade, what is this young man thinking? That is the aptitude and potential of a venerable. Lin Yu, you can't have too much hope. This Dragon Gate is very evil. Fan Tong was afraid that the greater Lin Yu's expectations, the greater the disappointment, which may affect his cultivation in the future. We all have it, Lin Yuan responded. He believed that with Lin Yu's potential, it may be far beyond heaven grade. Small, lower your voice. Yang Ju was afraid of being heard by others. He had never said such arrogant words in half of his life. But Yang Ju still couldn't stop him. Longxiang, these two people think they have a heaven grade. What do you think? Behind him, the fire Buddha of the 10th sea smiled, his eyes full of disdain. Obviously, in his eyes, the other side of Lin Yu and Lin Yuan were two ignorant brats who were talking nonsense. I should have a heaven grade high rank. Su Longxiang put his hands together and made an amitabha gesture. Then my son Jiang Beihan is also good. Beihan, how much do you think you have? The Lord of the 18th Sea, Jiang Ying, also mocked. Jiang Beihan pinched his fingers. With my attainments in array techniques, I should have an earth grade. But seeing that you are so confident, I will give myself a heaven grade high rank. Yes, my son's judgment is objective. Jiang Ying chuckled. Fan Tong and Yang Ju blushed. They both felt that Lin Yu and Lin Yuan were too exaggerated, which led to the exclusion of others. On the warship of the 22nd Sea, Shan Qingling's eyes also fell on Lin Yu and Lin Yuan. She muttered in her heart that they were crazy. She also continued to look cold and no longer spoke. Damn it, why can't I go up? Under the Dragon Gate, Situ Xiao tried his best, but he only had an Earth grade mid-rank aptitude. He struggled for a long time, but the golden light still couldn't move an inch. It seems that this junior has tried his best. Tai Jian, make a record and send it to the Venerable. Grand Preceptor once said. Tai Jian had already recorded it in a clear voice. 2nd C, Situ Xiao, Earth grade mid-rank. Wait, I can still. Situ Xiao was obviously unwilling, but he still didn't react at all. The Dragon Gate only looks at aptitude. It's useless to work hard. Situ Jingtian, take your people down. Grand Preceptor when directly slapped Situ Jingtian's face. The latter also shouted in a cold voice, "Idiot, why are you still not coming down?" Even if Situ Xiao was unwilling, after hearing this, he could only return to the warship of the 2nd Sea. After that, the participant of the 3rd Sea, Zhuge Lingyun, Mu Zhantian of the 4th Sea also took the test, and the result was also Earth grade mid-rank. The junior this time is so powerful. Fan Tong couldn't help but roar in his heart. Earth grade mid-rank was a height he didn't dare to reach in his life. How could these juniors casually achieve it now? The purpose of this Sea Lord meeting is to select a sequence. As long as there is a sequence, they can be promoted to a position recognized by the Venerable in this boundless sea. Who doesn't want to? Yang Ju also said with emotion, these old guys have probably been holding back their trump cards for many years. They have cultivated the most powerful, outstanding talents for today. After that, Yang Ju looked at Fan Tong, and there was a kind of sadness in his eyes. It was difficult for extremely powerful geniuses to appear in the sea areas where the two of them belong. Fortunately, their luck wasn't too bad. They had Lin Yu and Lin Yuan. We have arrived at the 5th Sea. According to the order of arrival, Grand Preceptor when shouted to the warship where Lin Yuan was. This child is somewhat extraordinary. You have to be careful of him during the sequence battle. Grand Preceptor once said, But Tai Jian was already a little conceited after seeing that other people's aptitude was not as good as his. Just SOSO. Tai Jian sneered. The warship of the fifth sea stepped forward. After Yang Ju bowed and saluted, he also motioned for Lin Yuan to go up. Lin Yuan was motionless and didn't immediately go up to the Dragon Gate. Instead, he turned to look at Lin Yu. You go first. Lin Yu transmitted his voice, and Lin Yuan dared to nod and step into the air. At this moment, Lin Yuan was bathed in the golden light of the Dragon Gate. All the golden light rushed straight to the heaven, earth, black, and yellow ranks. Chapter 759. Look at how arrogant this kid is. Everyone saw that Lin Yuan's aptitude had reached low-rank Earth grade in an instant, and it was still growing. Is this kid's potential the same as yours? Grand Preceptor, when asked with a cold gaze. Tai Jian narrowed his eyes slightly and saw that Lin Yuan's potential had reached high-rank Earth grade, and he was on an equal footing with him. At this moment, he had regarded Lin Yuan as his biggest opponent. Remember to deal with him first during the sequence battle. Yes, Master. Tai Jian nodded in agreement. However, the next moment, the audience was once again filled with shocked voices. Tai Jian and Grand Preceptor when looked and saw that the heavenly character of the Dragon Gate was shining brightly, and it was surrounded by a golden light at this moment. That is the golden light of Lin Yuan's potential, which has reached the realm of heavenly grade. Heavenly grade? Only venerables can reach heavenly grade. This kid in the fifth sea has such terrifying aptitude. Even Yang Ju, who brought Lin Yuan, opened his mouth wide and couldn't stop the joy on his face. Heavenly grade. Heavenly grade. This kid is not bragging. He is really heavenly grade. My fifth sea is about to turn over a new leaf. Fan Tong on the side glanced at Lin Yu. You kid, how did you know that Lin Yuan is heavenly grade? I know him. Lin Yu said casually, without much explanation. Above the Dragon Gate, Lin Yuan looked down, only looking at Lin Yu, and slowly clasped his fists. It was as if he was telling Lin Yu that he had today because of Lin Yu. He was just a small 9-color egg. Later, he was fed a lot of Yaobot in the low-key sect to absorb energy. Later, Lin Yu took him to the Despair Abyss, where the 9-color egg got the greatest opportunity. The monstrous monster aura, coupled with the cultivation of the 10,000 Beast War Emperor. His aptitude, whether in the monster race or the human race, is top-notch. In the first sea, at this moment, in a very venerated hall, a man slowly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, the figure who was still in the hall had already appeared above the Dragon Gate. As soon as this person appeared, Grand Preceptor 1, Situ Jingtian, and the other sea lords came back to their senses and knelt down to kowtow. Greetings, Venerable One. Greetings, Venerable One. At this moment, Venerable Wuya didn't even look at these people. Instead, his gaze fell on Lin Yuan, who was under the Dragon Gate. After a long while, he retracted his gaze and looked at the golden light above the Dragon Gate. The fifth sea, Lin Yuan, middle rank heaven rank, has surpassed me and is ranked as the number 1 genius of the boundless sea. Venerable Wuya's voice spread out in all directions. At this moment, everyone's minds were filled with this sentence, coupled with the dazzling light of the word heaven. Everything happened too quickly. Even Yang Ju, who was out of the fifth ocean, was stunned. I'm going to make a comeback. Fan Tong, do you think I'm going to make a comeback? Yang Ju's eyes widened as he kowtowed to Venerable Wuya. Venerable Wuya took a few more glances at Lin Yuan before disappearing from the Dragon Gate once again. It took a long time for everyone to regain their senses. The older generation of Sea Lords had already cast their eyes on Yang Ju, trying to win him over. Lord Yang Ju, it seems that the cooperation you and I talked about before, this old man can reconsider. Lord Yang Ju, where did you find this kid? Do you have time to invite him to my second ocean as a guest? Yang Ju, this is my third ocean. You can visit more often. By the way, remember to bring Lin Yuan. These old sea lords took the initiative to show their goodwill to Yangju. Lin Yuan returned to the battleship of the Fifth Ocean without saying a word. It was as if the heaven aptitude rating he had just received was nothing to him, because Lin Yu had already told him in advance that he was a heaven rank. Therefore, for Lin Yuan, this was not a surprise at all. Brother Yangju, I didn't expect your people to be so powerful. If you had said so earlier, you and I could have cooperated. Behind Lin Yu and others, the warships of the 10th Ocean and the 18th Ocean had already circled around and approached the 5th Ocean. The strong will always have the attraction. These people also planned to come up and get close to the 5th Ocean because of Lin Yuan. However, at the same time, they also cut the queue. Wait, it's our 6th Ocean's turn. Fantong's old face was gloomy as he said coldly. However, the Fire Buddha of the 10th Ocean immediately sneered. Brother Fantong, this old man has just checked the person you brought today with my divine sense. He has no cultivation at all. Why are you still wasting time? What did you say? Fantong was angry and was about to step forward to argue, but the warship suddenly shook. It turned out that Jiang Ying and Jiang Jianghan of the 18th Ocean had already driven their warship over. Get out of the way. Fantong, you are still a good-for-nothing, as your name suggests. Today, you actually brought a disabled person to get in the way. The one who spoke was not Jiang Ying, the Sea Lord, but Jiang Jianghan beside him. This person was just a junior, but he called Fantong's name directly, not putting this senior in his eyes at all. After listening, Fantong's face was extremely gloomy. It's none of your business whether my people can do it or not. Now, it's our turn to test. No one can do it. How could he not see that these people wanted to curry favor with the 5th Ocean? However, Fantong didn't care who they wanted to curry favor with. But if they hurt Lin Yu's self-esteem because of this, then it would be unacceptable. Who did you just call a disabled person? Suddenly, an extremely cold voice came from the 5th Ocean's warship. Lin Yuan's eyes flashed with fierce killing intent, staring at Jiang Jianghan on the 18th Ocean's warship. Young Master Lin, you have a heaven-grade aptitude. These two people in the 6th Ocean are both good-for-nothings. We will only lower our status if we talk to them. Jiang Jianghan sneered at Lin Yu. Son, shut up. Jiang Ying stopped him, having realized that there was something wrong with Lin Yuan. However, he couldn't stop him. When Jiang Jianghan said the second word, Lin Yuan's figure had disappeared from the deck, and when he reappeared, he was already on the 18th Ocean's warship. Kneel down and apologize, or die. Lin Yuan's voice left no room for negotiation. Jiang Jianghan frowned, not knowing what the situation was now. However, he was sure that Lin Yuan's words were directed at him. Young Master Lin, did I say something wrong? Jiang Jianghan asked. He didn't know that a dragon has a reverse scale, and anyone who touches it will die. Lin Yu is Lin Yuan's reverse scale. Anyone who touches this reverse scale will pay the price of death. Your chance is gone. There were no complicated emotions in Lin Yuan's eyes. He just came to this world not long ago, and he might not even have some human emotions. There were only two emotions in his heart. The first was his loyalty to Lin Yu, and the second was the killing intent of the 10,000 Beast War Emperor towards Yamato before his death. Yamato is dead, and the only person Lin Yuan is loyal to now is Lin Yu. When Lin Yuan's voice fell, he had already made his move. His speed was so fast that even Jiang Ying on the warship couldn't react in time. What's more, his son Jiang Jianghan is only at the 9th Dao equalization stage. What are you doing? Jiang Jianghan wanted to retreat and avoid Lin Yuan's attack, but Lin Yuan's speed is faster than the 10,000 Beast War Emperor, and his body is stronger. Even if Jiang Jianghan burned his cultivation at this moment, he couldn't escape for a second before Lin Yuan pressed his face. No. Chapter 760. Noticing that the expanding power was gathering on his face, Jiang Beihan suddenly realized that Lin Yuan was going to kill him. But why? He was mocking the people of the 6th Sea. What did it have to do with the 5th Sea? Let go of my son. Jiang Ying immediately attacked. His 4-symbol state cultivation turned into a monstrous flame that fell at lightning speed. But Lin Yuan had already released his killing intent, and there was no reason for him to give up. In his palm, a violent energy ball formed by demonic energy exploded instantly. Boom! The deafening sound attracted everyone's attention. Who would have thought that a fight would start before the Sea Lord assembly began? Is that the person with the heaven-grade aptitude? Who was his opponent? Is it Jiang Beihan? When everyone heard the sound of the battle, they saw Jiang Beihan's face covered in blood. With just one blow, Jiang Beihan was already dead. His whole face was blasted into black charcoal. Beihan, seeing his son die in front of him, Jiang Ying roared furiously and instantly hit Lin Yuan with his palm. At this moment, Lin Yuan had not stopped his attack, so he had no time to resist Jiang Ying. However, Jiang Ying's attack was pressed down by another person. Just as he leaped up, a young man appeared in front of Jiang Ying. They had always thought that he was a cripple, but at this moment he pressed Jiang Ying down without anyone noticing. Just like that, he blocked Jiang Ying's killing move against Lin Yuan. It's not your turn yet. Lin Yu's calm voice came. Lin Yuan didn't want him to be bullied, and so did Lin Yu. If Jiang Ying really hurt Lin Yuan, he wouldn't mind killing a Sea Lord under the Dragon Gate. This, Fan Tong jumped in fright. When did this kid get there? Lin Yuan, how dare you kill him? You think you can kill people at will just because you have the heaven-grade aptitude? Everyone, let's take him down first. The people who shouted were Su Longxiang from the 10th Sea and Mu Zhantian from the 4th Sea. Not only them, but even Zhuge Lingyun from the 3rd Sea was holding a judge's pen, ready to attack at any time. Situ Xiao of the 2nd Sea region and Tai Jian of the 1st Sea region also looked at Lin Yuan coldly when they saw this scene. I heard that Lin Yuan was not a member of the Boundless Sea before. Is it possible that he is a spy sent by the other 6 seas to kill the young geniuses of the Boundless Sea? If that's the case, then all the more we can't let him live. Situ Xiao and Tai Jian looked at each other. They understood each other's meaning and agreed with each other. Revenge? Spies? Those are all fake. Lin Yuan has a heaven-grade aptitude, coupled with the super combat power that Jiang Beihan showed when he fought just now. Such a person would be their biggest enemy if he participated in the sequence battle. Now that they had the opportunity to get rid of Lin Yuan, they couldn't ask for more. Grand Preceptor 1, you are the host. What do you think we should do? Second Ocean Lord Situ Jingtian asked tentatively. Old Fox, Grand Preceptor Wen thought to himself that this was to force him to make a decision. Let the younger generation solve their own problems. It is not good for us, the Ocean Lords, to get involved. Grand Preceptor Wen said with a deep sense of righteousness. He smiled again. The rule of the Boundless Sea is that the strong are respected. Whoever can survive will be the reason. His meaning was already very clear. The Ocean Lords must not intervene. Otherwise, it will be easy to make a big deal out of it. After all, the Ocean Lord Conference is about to begin. If the Ocean Lords start a war, then he, as the first Ocean Lord and the host, would lose face. Therefore, Grand Preceptor Wen meant that the younger generation should solve it. Then, Tai Jian understood. Situ Xiao and the others also understood. Lin Yuan, you killed indiscriminately. Today, several of us will avenge Brother Beihan. However, Jiang Beihan did a favor for the 4th Sea region in the past. Today I, Mu Zhantian, can't just let it go. These people had curried favor with the 5th Sea region just now. But in the blink of an eye, as long as they caught Lin Yuan, the heaven-grade aptitude powerhouse that everyone was jealous of, they wouldn't mind getting rid of him on the spot. It hasn't been so lively for a long time. Just as these people were approaching the 18th warship, in the distance, Xiao Yinyao's 7th Sea region slowly arrived. Little friend, long time no see. Did anyone bully you here? Xiao Yinyao saw Lin Yu and Jiang Ying fighting from afar. On the other side, there was Jiang Beihan's corpse and Lin Yuan. He didn't know Lin Yuan, but Lin Yu saved him in the 7th Sea region. Bully? This old man's son is dead, and you say I bullied him? Jiang Ying's face was fierce, but in addition to grief in his heart, he was more surprised that Lin Yu's strength was so great that it completely suppressed the movement of his body. The people of the sea region had an extremely strong body, but this kid seemed to have no cultivation. But unexpectedly, he had such a powerful body. Jiang Ying, what does your son's death have to do with my little friend? He didn't do it. Xiao Yinyao smiled and pulled Lin Yu away with one hand. At the same time, he also separated Lin Yu and Jiang Ying. He stood in the middle and motioned Lin Yu to return to his worship. As for Lin Yuan, Xiao Yinyao didn't know him, but when he saw Lin Yu standing up for him, he subconsciously gave him a look. See, Lord Xiao, this is my matter. Let me solve it myself, okay? Grand Preceptor Wen's voice was a bit cold. Xiao Yinyao had made up his mind. Moreover, when he was betrayed by Yang Jing, he had experienced life and death, and he had seen the fickleness of human nature. This old man is talking to Sea Lord Jiang. How can I intervene in this matter? Xiao Yinyao smiled helplessly, but there was a hint of mockery and provocation in his words. It seems that Sea Lord Zhao's 7th Sea region has experienced a disaster, which has made you a lot bolder. Grand Preceptor Wen said coldly, too lazy to pay attention to this side. As for the others, they saw Xiao Yinyao protecting Lin Yu. In addition, Fan Tong and Yang Ju also reacted and protected Lin Yu and Lin Yuan at the same time. With the support of the 3 Sea Lords, Jiang Ying naturally can't do anything. As for the others, they just want to add insult to injury. Naturally, they won't really go all out. Seeing that there is no advantage to take, they can only give up for the time being. Thank you, Senior. Lin Yu cupped his fists. Although he was sure that he and Lin Yuan could escape unscathed, it was inevitable that Fan Tong and Yang Ju would be implicated. The current situation is a little better. It's a small matter, a small matter. Little friend, I haven't seen you for a few days, but your cultivation has reached a higher level. You can actually suppress Jiang Ying's anger with one hand. Xiao Yinyao's old eyes were sharp, and he saw a little clue from a distance. He didn't come just in time to stop Jiang Ying. Jiang Ying could have taken action when Zhang Beihan died, but Xiao Yinyao could see that he was stopped by Lin Yu. A Sea Lord was pressed to the ground with one hand, and he couldn't even avenge his son's death. This only shows that Lin Yu's strength is terrifying. Chapter 761. Brother, you are recovering well. Fan Tong smiled apologetically and started to reminisce with Xiao Yinyao. Brother, I really couldn't get away to help you. At that time, my Zhenjin has already told me about this matter. Brother, you couldn't even protect yourself. How could you save me? Moreover, at that time, you didn't know the situation in my sea. Xiao Yinyao also understood Fan Tong. The two nodded at each other with a helpless look. Shameful. If it weren't for Lin Yu, the two of them would have died in their own sea. The two had a consensus, and Yang Ju had seen Lin Yuan's help to Lin Yu just now. He had already determined this kid's attitude. Lin Yuan, Lin Yu, are the two of them brothers? It seems that this old man has to interact more with Lin Yu. Yang Ju thought. At this moment, they had already entered the Dragon Gate. After Zhang Beihan was killed in the 18th Sea, the people in the 10th Sea did not dare to cut the line again. The next one to enter the Dragon Gate was Lin Yu. Kid, it's your turn. Fan Tong patted Lin Yu's shoulder. Don't be too burdened, although the one in front of you is a heaven-grade talent. I think little friend Lin Yu's talent is not too low. Xiao Yinyao admired Lin Yu very much. Obviously, his eyesight was much better than Fan Tong's, and he could understand Lin Yu's hidden strength better. Let's play. Those who came to participate in the sequence battle had to pass the Dragon Gate. He knew that this thing could not be avoided. However, Lin Yu did not know that in this world, they could not see through his cultivation. He also did not know if his aptitude would not be revealed in the Dragon Gate. Lin Yu slowly walked into the Dragon Gate. Soon, a golden light detected his appearance. The golden light penetrated Lin Yu's body and seemed to be checking his aptitude from the inside out. But after a long time, the golden light did not move. This kid, is he really a waste? Don't say, have you forgotten what happened to Zhang Beihan? The Fire Buddha warned Su Longxiang. I'm afraid of Lin Yu. I'm not talking about Lin Yu, but Lin Yuan. That kid can kill Zhang Beihan, and he can also kill you. Hearing this, Even with Su Longxiang's pride, he could only suppress the unwillingness in his heart. If he didn't want to tell her, then so be it. Do you think I can suffocate to death? Su Longxiang harumphed coldly, not saying a word. At the same time, even though the others saw that Lin Yu's aptitude was 0 and that his golden and yellow grades were not affected, they were still shocked by Jiang Beihan's death. Not many people dared to speak ill of Lin Yu. If he could kill Jiang Beihan, then Lin Yuan could kill them. After all, Jiang Beihan was the young lord of the 18th Sea region, and he was protected by Jiang Ying, the Sea Lord. Even so, he still couldn't save his own life. Forget it, forget it. I don't dare to say it. Hey, is this a world where the strong are respected? Lin Yu felt helpless. After looking at it for a long time, there was still no reaction. He focused again, but the golden light didn't react at all. Child, come down, we're going in. Fan Tong coughed dryly and looked at Xiao Yinyao, although he was also a little surprised. But thinking that they couldn't see through Lin Yu's cultivation, maybe the Dragon Gate couldn't see through it either. Brother Fan, the Dragon Gate is not allowed. Brother Xiao is right, I think so too. The two of them took Lin Yu into the Dragon Gate. After that, it was Su Longxiang and Shan Qingling's test. However, when it was Su Longxiang's turn, a strange scene happened. The moment Su Longxiang entered the Dragon Gate began to shake violently. This made Su Longxiang, who was concentrating under the Dragon Gate, overjoyed. Am I the chosen one? Even Lin Yuan didn't have this vibration. The Tensi Lord, Fire Buddha, also laughed and said, "The state of the Dragon Gate, I think my disciple, is also of the heaven grade." Shan Qingling, who was behind him, had a cold face and didn't say a word, but when she saw the Dragon Gate shaking, she also felt great pressure. She was behind Su Longxiang and was the last person to take the test. If the gap between her and Su Longxiang's talent was too big, it would be difficult for her, who had just become the Sea Lord, to convince the public. What grade of aptitude do you think Su Longxiang has? Brother Xiao, looking at the reaction of the Dragon Gate, it should be at least of the heaven grade. Fan Tong and Xiao Yinyao, who had already passed the Dragon Gate, turned back again and were also alarmed by this strange phenomenon. At the same time, Grand Preceptor 1 and the others cast their attention. Is this kid more powerful than Lin Yuan? Damn it, it seems that this Sea Lord's meeting is really a gathering of the geniuses. Compared with those geniuses, the difference between them is obvious. Su Longxiang heard everyone's evaluation of him below and felt the joy of success in advance. I am of the heaven grade, at least of the heaven grade. Let's go. Su Longxiang shouted, imagining the feeling of being envied by tens of thousands of people and being fawned on. The two great beauties of the boundless sea, Shan Qingling and Fan Jinjin. If I have the heaven grade aptitude, maybe I can take them and make them my slaves in bed. Su Longxiang murmured Amit Ba and began to concentrate. However, an unforeseen event occurred once again. Above the Dragon Gate, there was only vibration. There was no reaction from the golden light rushing towards the four words of heaven, earth, Xian, and Huang. What's the situation? Is the Dragon Gate broken? Is it because my aptitude is too high that the Dragon Gate can't bear it? Su Longxiang thought to himself. However, in the next moment, the yellow characters on the Dragon Gate exploded. The tyrannical and violent fluctuation frightened everyone. The disciples of the 10th Sea, who were slightly closer to the Dragon Gate, were also affected by the explosion. Many of them directly spurted out a mouthful of blood. What? The Dragon Gate exploded? Why? Even Grand Preceptor 1, Tai Jian, and the others, who were the hosts, were shocked at this moment. The Dragon Gate had stood in the First Sea for many years. The so-called aptitude assessment base of the boundless sea's geniuses. This was the first time it exploded. It's not my fault. Su Longxiang immediately wanted to explain. However, while he was still in the Dragon Gate, the second and third sound resounded again. That was the Xian word and the earth word that exploded at the same time. Su Longxiang, what did you do? Tai Jian roared and pointed the spearhead at Su Longxiang. I told you, it's not my fault. Seeing that the situation was not good, Su Longxiang immediately exited the Dragon Gate and returned to his worship. However, when he left, the last heaven word also exploded. This was the most violent explosion, which directly collapsed the entire huge Dragon Gate. The arch door collapsed. The worship of the 10th sea couldn't dodge in time and was directly crushed in half. Fire Buddha and Su Longxiang flew up to the sky, and more than half of the disciples were killed or injured. Su Longxiang looked at all this in a daze. How could the Dragon Gate be destroyed when the heaven-grade aptitude didn't come out? Not only did he destroy the Dragon Gate, but he also killed many of his own people. Eldest senior brother, save me. Eldest senior brother, why did you do this? Chapter 762. The disciples of the 10th ocean domain wailed. Su Longxiang felt unwell. Master, no, this has nothing to do with me. Su Longxiang's face turned pale. He was just standing at the Dragon Gate. Who knew he would get into such a big trouble? You destroyed my first ocean domain's 10,000 years of foundation. Fire Buddha, if you don't give me an explanation, my first ocean domain won't let you off. Grand Preceptor Wind's roar came. We'll talk about this later. Fire Buddha's old face was gloomy. He looked at Su Longxiang coldly. Hurry up and help. The 10th ocean domain was overturned. The Dragon Gate was gone. Shan Qingling was relieved. At least there was no need to test anymore. The worship of the 22nd ocean domain entered. Everyone who participated in the Ocean Master meeting had arrived. Lin Yu touched his nose with his finger and looked at the broken Dragon Gate. It has nothing to do with me. Grand Preceptor arranged for everyone to stay in their respective residences. After a few hours, the 10th Ocean had to pay a huge price to settle the Dragon Gate's mess, so they had to give up temporarily. At this moment, there was no one above the ruins of the Dragon Gate. However, a figure appeared in the sky. It was Venerable Wuya. At this moment, even with Venerable Wuya's composure, he couldn't help but feel shocked. It wasn't destroyed on purpose, but by force? Venerable Wuya observed the damage of the Heaven Gate and went to the guest hall of the 10th Ocean Domain. He observed Su Longxiang from afar. Soon, he shook his head again. Above the Heaven rank is the Divine rank. When the Dragon Gate is destroyed, the Divine rank will appear. But this kid doesn't deserve it. Venerable Wuya was puzzled. According to Grand Preceptor Wen's report, Su Longxiang was under the Dragon Gate. If it wasn't him, then who was it? Soon, everyone in the guest welcoming hall received a voice transmission. The Ocean Master meeting was canceled and changed to the sequence battle. It would start tomorrow. This transmission carried a supreme prestige. Within the boundless sea, no one could go against this voice, because it came from Venerable Wuya. Sequence battle. The Venerable One changed the Ocean Lord Assembly into a sequence battle. Could it be that he wanted to nurture powerhouses that could enter the sequence ranking? If this is true, then tomorrow will be our best chance. Since ancient times, even the weakest of the people who were able to make it onto the ranking board were future venerables. That's not all. If you're even stronger, you might be able to earn the favor of the experts on the Heaven God ranking and receive their guidance. Even the Martial Highness Realm cultivators might not be able to match your achievements. The Celestial God list is too far away. All the geniuses of the boundless sea had gathered in the first sea. Even with their experience, they couldn't help but be fascinated when they heard about the sequence battle. The echelon was the highest honor of the boundless sea, and even the world sea's younger generation. Aptitude and whatnot were all meaningless. Only by being on the sequence rankings would one be truly recognized by the three realms. Unfortunately, the difficulty of entering the sequence was unimaginable. For example, in the entire boundless sea, perhaps only 1 or 2 people would be able to enter the ranks. And these 2 people would have to compete with the other 6 seas, or even the people of the primitive continent and Tianyu, before they could truly enter the sequence rankings. Lin Yu had also heard a lot about the sequence rankings from Fan Tong and Xiao Yinyao. The most important thing in this matter is to participate. Winning or losing is not important. After knowing that Lin Yu's aptitude was so poor, Fantong didn't want to put too much pressure on Lin Yu. After discussing with Xiao Yin Yao, they decided to let Lin Yu relax a little. The most important thing was to participate. Xiao Yin Yao nodded and continued. There are 7 main opponents this time. 2 of them are in the equalization realm. They are Shan Qingling and Su Longxiang. The other 5 are in the 4 divisions realm. They are Tai Jian, Situ Xiang, Zhuge Lingyun, Mu Zhan Tian, and Lin Yuan. These 5 are in the 4 divisions realm. Tai Jian, in particular, is in the 2nd heaven of the 4 divisions realm. His cultivation is the highest. Xiao Yin Yao only knew this information, plus the information in Fantong's hands. It was obviously not enough for Lin Yu. But Lin Yu was also helpless. Unless he could investigate the information of these geniuses, he wouldn't know much. The 6th and 7th seas had just suffered a great calamity, so there was no time to investigate. Sea Lord, Lin Yuan in the 5th sea came to find Mr. Lin. The subordinate reported. Xiao Yin Yao and Fantong looked at each other. They knew that Lin Yuan's actions today obviously had a deep relationship with Lin Yu. The 2 also have the same surname. Maybe they knew each other before. It's just that these are Lin Yu's private affairs, so they won't ask too much. At this moment, they tactfully avoided it for the time being. Lin Yuan came in and immediately knelt in front of Lin Yu. Greetings, master. Get up, Lin Yu said gently and helped Lin Yuan up. In the future, you don't need to salute in front of me. Lin Yuan nodded, and his face couldn't hide his longing for Lin Yu. At the same time, he took out a booklet from his arms. The booklet was opened by Lin Yu. It contained detailed information of everyone in the sequence battle. Tai Jian was good at using poison. He was a master who majored in combat and minored in poison. Situ Xiu was good at swordsmanship. His all things are sword skill had the combat power to contend with Tai Jian, who was at the 2nd level of 4-symbol state. There was also Zhuge Lingyun, who majored in death energy and could summon the dead to fight with his judge pen. There were also Mu Zhantian's talismans, Su Longxiang's Buddha skills, and Shan Qingling's alchemy skills. Even the dead Jiang Beihan's flaws were described in the booklet. However, Jiang Beihan didn't even have the chance to use the array before he died in the hands of Lin Yuan. This is the information collected in the 5th sea. Lin Yuan nodded. Lin Yu smiled and said, if you show this to me, Yang Ju might be angry. It's okay. Lin Yuan said calmly, without any emotion at all. It was as if the relationship between him and Yang Ju was just a transaction. But when needed, Lin Yuan would choose to support Lin Yu without hesitation. And Lin Xiu separated from you? Lin Yu asked again. Although he wasn't worried about them. After all, these people had the strength of the 4-symbol state. And with Lin Xiu's wisdom and the experience of Qini's 10 lifetimes, it would be difficult for ordinary forces to really hurt them. I met Mistress, but at that time, I couldn't find Master and Lin Xiu was nowhere to be found. Mistress asked me to stay in the boundless sea and find a force at random. When I have a firm foothold, I will use my own force to find Master. Lin Yu nodded. Qini's thoughts coincided with his. The boundless sea was too big. Even if a warship sailed, it would take a few days to travel between different sea areas. And here, there were a total of 33 sea areas. Outside the boundless sea, the entire border sea was 7 times the size of the boundless sea. If they searched blindly, it would be tantamount to looking for a needle in a haystack. Mistress left the boundless sea. At that time, Zhixiaxi's Qiong Fairy sect was recruiting people. Mistress went to seek refuge with Qiong Fairy sect. Mistress said, Lin Yuan wanted to say something, but stopped. Chapter 763. Go on. After hearing this, how could Lin Yu not continue to listen? The mistress said that the master is lecherous and might have run to the Zixia Sea. The Zixia Sea is surrounded by the sunset, glow day and night. It is the place with the most female cultivators. She said that the master might have already been among the women. Lin Yu almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Am I that kind of person? Lin Yu shook his head helplessly. Women nowadays are really good at reading people. We will split up. This was given to me by the mistress. She said that if I meet the master first, I will pass it to you. Lin Yuan took out another amber bead. This kind of bead is different from the storage ring. The storage ring has an internal space and can store a large number of physical objects. This bead is a prayer bead that can store spiritual sense. Lin Yu was on top of the prayer beads. He used his divine consciousness to enter the beads and sense the divine consciousness of rebirth and bliss left by Qin. This spiritual sense has no self-consciousness. It is just an illusory figure of Qin. But Lin Yu understood what Qin meant. The presence of the spiritual sense means that Qin is safe and sound. If the spiritual sense begins to be damaged, it means that Qin is injured. The most dangerous situation is that the spiritual sense dissipates, which means that Qin is dead. Lin Yu looked at the current situation. The spiritual sense is intact, which means that Qin is safe. He put away the prayer beads. He also studied the information brought by Lin Yuan. There are only two strong enemies, Tai Jian and Sidu Xiao. As for the others, Lin Yu estimated that they can't take a few moves from him. You go back first and stay in Yanju. In the future, when you and I have a stable foundation, we can form our own forces. Lin Yuan nodded. Although he was reluctant to part with Lin Yu, he also understood that they are just living under someone else's roof now. There is no low-key sect here, nor is there Feng Yi Dao world. Even the Sky Desert universe has been destroyed. They need to form their own forces and let the low-key sect gain a foothold in this new world again. Master, I will help you in the sequence battle. Lin Yuan's eyes were full of certainty as he said this sentence and left. The next day, everyone arrived at the entrance of the sequence battle. It was a trial ground formed by hundreds of deep-sea volcanoes in the First Sea region. On the trial grounds, as everyone gathered, the Venerable One's figure also appeared on the volcano. I will divide the sequence battle into two parts. The first part will be the Sea Pearl battle, and the second part will be the individual battle. Venerable Wu Ya's cold and majestic voice rang out. Everyone held their breaths and focused. At the same time, they saw the volcano erupting from time to time below. This underwater volcano contained an extremely powerful force. Around the volcano was a vast expanse of gray land. It was as if it had once been covered by magma, and now it had solidified into land. Just like the First Sea region, this continent was covered by a thin film of obsidian chi that prevented seawater from entering. It would allow everyone inside to live as if they were on land. Sea Pearl, are you talking about something made from ice crystals in our boundless sea? I heard that it's a type of obsidian bot specially used by supremacies. It fuses with the obsidian chi of the deep sea and is hundreds of times more effective than obsidian bot. It's exclusive to the Venerable One, so no one can get the ocean pearl in advance. That's fair. Everyone was talking about it. In the sky, Venerable Wu Ya spoke again. Everyone immediately quieted down. I will scatter the ocean pearls in the trial grounds of the volcano. The top 4 with the most ocean pearls will enter the second battle. After Venerable Wu Ya finished speaking, he disappeared on the spot. He came and went without a trace, but the others were already eager to give it a try, especially Tai Jian and the others. They were looking down at the volcanoes below, trying to figure out where the Venerable One hid the ocean pearls. This is the trial ground of the First Sea region. Tai Jian, don't tell me you already know where the ocean pearls are hidden? Yeah, that's not fair. We're looking for something in the First Sea region, and we have to compete with the people of the First Sea region. How can we compete? Hearing these words, Grand Preceptor had already thought of an excuse. The ocean pearls were placed by the Venerable One himself. Even I and the people of the First Sea region don't know about it. Don't tell me you're suspecting the Venerable One. After Grand Preceptor finished speaking, he couldn't help but sneer, because he saw the others all shut up when they heard the Venerable One. A group of people who bully the kind and fear the evil. Grand Preceptor thought in his heart, but he still had a generous smile on his face. Since everyone has no questions, then please enter the volcano trial ground. Tai Jian, Situ Xiao, Zhuge Lingyun, Mu Zhantian, Lin Yuan, Su Longxiang, Shan Qingling. Grand Preceptor Wen stayed on Su Longxiang for a while. After all, this kid actually broke his dragon gate. However, the Venerable One didn't allow him to make things difficult for Su Longxiang, which made Grand Preceptor Wen puzzled. Could it be that there was some secret in the dragon gate that even he didn't know about? The Sea Lords changed, but there was only one Venerable One in 10,000 years. Therefore, even though Grand Preceptor Wen now controlled the First Sea region, he still didn't know as much as the Venerable One about the ancient secrets of the Boundless Sea. Sea Lord One, you haven't finished reading yet, Fan Tong said with an angry face. Only Lin Yu was left out. This was obviously looking down on him. By the way, there's also that guy from the Sixth Sea region, Lin Yu. Grand Preceptor Wen sneered, but he didn't look down on Lin Yu too much. The 8 people gathered outside the volcano trial ground. The light of the teleportation array enveloped them. Lin Yuan glanced at Lin Yu, and then the figures of the 8 people disappeared at the same time. When they reappeared, Lin Yu was already outside the volcano trial ground. It was a boundless gray continent. The ground under his feet was much hotter than ordinary land. On the continent, large and small volcanoes could be seen everywhere. However, these volcanoes seemed to have been dead for a long time, and there were no signs of eruption. However, it was not convenient for mortals to get close because Lin Yu still felt the high temperature surging. There was no one around. Lin Yu raised his head and saw that there was a barrier formed by the aura above his head. On the barrier, their names and the number of sea pearls they obtained were written. Lin Yu looked around and could vaguely perceive an extremely hidden divine sense monitoring him. It was estimated that not only him, but everyone who entered the trial ground was being monitored. This level of divine sense is obviously not something that can be achieved by the 4-symbol state. There is only one person in the boundless sea who has such a powerful ability. That is Venerable Wuya. Soon, the sea pearl list began to jump for the first time. The name of Situ Xiao of the Second Sea region jumped to the first place. He had already obtained the first sea pearl, while the others were still 0. Outside the trial ground, Grand Preceptor Wen said, "You see, we, Taijian, have no advantage here. You can rest assured." Chapter 764. The crowd was skeptical. Why did he have to explain himself again for no reason? Could it be that he had a guilty conscience? Tai Jian will find it eventually. Maybe you're purposely letting him wait for the others to find a few before letting Tai Jian take action. Fan Tong had always disliked Grand Preceptor Wen. The corner of Grand Preceptor Wen's mouth quirked up. He looked at Fan Tong as if he were looking at an ant he could crush at any time. Of course we'll find it eventually. With Tai Jian's talent, he won't lose to the others. On the other hand, Sea Lord Fan, you're still worried about that Lin Yu of yours. Grand Preceptor Wen shook his head and sighed. It's a pity that the disciples of the Sixth Sea followed a yellow-ranked Sea Lord. Even the younger generation is so mediocre. Wen Xiang, you old thief, Lin Yu's potential isn't something you can see. Fan Tong said angrily. He even said Grand Preceptor Wen's real name. How dare you? This is the First Sea. I'm Grand Preceptor Wen. What nonsense are you spouting? Nonsense? Your parents gave me this name. We've known each other for so many years. Do you think I don't know? Do you think I won't know you? Just change your name to Grand Preceptor Wen? Wen Xiang, Wen Xiang. Fan Tong's childish expression left the others dumbfounded. Was this still the Ocean Lord level powerhouse they knew? Even Xiao Yinyao couldn't help but pull Fan Tong aside. Brother, forget it. Grand Preceptor Wen's face twitched. He clenched his fists tightly. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't beat Nangongming back then, he would have snatched him back. Fan Tong wouldn't have the face to jump around like this in front of him. Below the training field, Lin Yu pondered. Though he didn't know how many sea pearls there were, he'd already observed them from above. Now that he was here, he could make some simple deductions. This position should be in the Li position. If it's according to the 36 mansions and the 8 trigrams, then it should be here. Lin Yu muttered to himself. He took a step forward and moved 30 meters to the west. Lin Yu stomped his foot and the ground shook. The The ground sealed by the grayish-white lava suddenly split open, and a sparkling pearl flew out and landed in Lin Yu's hand. Half of the bead was radiating Yao Qi, while the other half was a deep-sea pressure unique to the boundless sea. This should be Haiju. Looks like I was right. Lin Yu moved another 200 feet away and stomped on the ground again. Another ocean pearl flew out. His ranking instantly surpassed Sidu Xiu's and reached first place. As for the others, they also found their first one in succession. But this place is too big. Based on this distance, there should be more than just the 36 Big Dipper constellations. There should be 72 earthly fiends. Lin Yu continued to shift and dug out sea pearls one after another. His ranking also shocked the outside world. 10-11. What's up with that kid from the Sixth Ocean? How did he become so powerful all of a sudden? Fan Tong and Xiao Yinyao were overjoyed. They knew they had not misjudged him. That child is a promising talent. He seems to have deciphered the pattern of the Venerable's placement of the ocean pearls in such a short time. It must be so. With the size of the volcano trial field, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. Lin Yu is so fast now. He must have found the pattern. The two said one after another. Grand Preceptor Wen's old face was gloomy to the extreme. What the F***CK is this? That kid is a waste with no cultivation. Even during the Dragon Gate test, he was still a waste with no aptitude. How could he collect ocean pearls so quickly? In the 10th sea, where Fire Buddha was, Jiangying walked over. Lord of the Flames Sea, about what we agreed on yesterday. What are you doing here now? It's easy to arouse suspicion. Fire Buddha's old face darkened. I have arranged for Longxiang to do what I promised you. Don't worry, Lin Yu and Lin Yuan can't run away. You should go back quickly. If people knew that he received benefits and asked Su Longxiang to kill Lin Yu and Lin Yuan in the trial field, where would he put his face as the Lord of the 10th Sea? I'm also eager to avenge my son. That's good. Thank you, Lord of the Flame Sea. Jiangying also knew that there were many eyes and ears now, but he had no choice. Fire Buddha, this bastard, received 100 billion Yao bought from him yesterday, and then casually promised that he would get rid of Lin Yu and Lin Yuan. Who knows whether he did it or not? And with Su Longxiang's skill, he may be able to kill Lin Yu, but he doesn't know if he is Lin Yuan's opponent. In the volcano trial field, Lin Yu looked at his ranking. He knew that he was not the only one who could see it. Others must also be able to see it. Maybe they have already regarded him as a thorn in their side. An ordinary man is innocent. For the sake of safety, I have to meet with Lin Yuan first. Lin Yu pondered. He may be confident to fight one of them alone, but if he is surrounded by a group of wolves, even if he is a lion, he may fail miserably. After changing a few positions, Lin Yu finally saw the traces of other people. It seems that my luck is not good. Lin Yu is helpless. He did not meet Lin Yuan, but Su Longxiang. Ba, benefactor, we meet again. Su Longxiang put his hands together, and the fist-sized Buddhist beads on his neck were particularly conspicuous. However, although this thing seems ordinary, Lin Yu smelled a bloody smell on it. This person is not as kind as he looks on the outside. This kind of person was often more dangerous than those who looked like fiends, because others can see the fierceness of the other party at a glance and have to be on guard. However, Su Longxiang is a kind person. Once he makes a move, the other party will be caught off guard and will be easily plotted against. Yes, we meet again. Lin Yu smiled and played with the sea beads in his hand. Su Longxiang glanced at the Buddhist beads, and an imperceptible light flashed in his eyes, and then he returned to calmness. It was only for a moment, but it couldn't be hidden from Lin Yu's eyes. He has seen too many people. On the same day when he was trapped, Lin Yu has seen thousands of people and learned all their secrets, which also allowed him to practice a pair of discerning eyes. Lin Yu has been deceived by many seemingly loyal people, and he has also been plotted against by others. Although it was only for a day, he could repeatedly get to know these people and see what they were really hiding in their hearts under the surface. Over time, He could see the subtle movements of anyone and judge the thoughts of these people. Even if Lin Yu left the sky desert universe and came to a strange place, this ability will follow him for a lifetime. Although it is impossible to be 100% sure, Lin Yu can roughly see the thoughts of anyone. You want it? Lin Yu raised the corner of his mouth and said deliberately. Su Longxiang retracted his gaze and calmly shook his head and said, Benefactor's things do not belong to this poor monk. Chapter 765. In that case, I'll take my leave. After Lin Yu said that, he moved away and separated himself from Su Longxiang by more than 100 feet. But soon, Su Longxiang caught up with him. It seems that you have something else to do. Benefactor, this poor monk wants to ask for directions. What directions? The road to hell. I don't know if you know how to get there. Lin Yu smiled and said, Are you not going to act anymore? I thought you would take a detour with me. Su Longxiang's righteous face showed an evil smile, which was extremely terrifying. This poor monk wanted to test you first, but unfortunately, you are too smart. Since you have seen through this poor monk's intention, what's the point of continuing the act? Lin Yu heaved a long sigh. Su Longxiang was surprised. Logically speaking, Lin Yu should be nervous facing him alone when he released his killing intent. Why was this person still so calm? Even if Lin Yuan was tested to have a heaven-grade aptitude at the beginning, there was also the death of Jiang Beihan and the collapse of the Dragon Gate. Su Longxiang seemed to have never seen Lin Yu's shocked expression. Benefactor, why are you sighing? What do you mean? Su Longxiang probed again. He was full of confidence to kill a mortal whose cultivation he couldn't see through, who seemed to only have a slightly stronger body and could move quickly. But now, Su Longxiang was a little uncertain. I think you should continue the act. Lin Yu smiled faintly, and Su Longxiang felt a murderous aura emanating from that smile. A murderous intent so majestic that it was about to swallow him. Benefactor, you don't have any cultivation, and you only rely on your extraordinary body. You're not my opponent, Su Longxiang said coldly, but he was ready to guard against Lin Yu at any time. Whether I am your opponent or not, you will know when you make a move. Lin Yu said slowly and looked at Su Longxiang's sea pearls. You have 5 pearls. Well, it saved me some time. Spreading out his hands, Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and said, Don't you want to rob me? Make your move. Su Longxiang was a little surprised by this scene. This person casually stretched out his hand. His entire body was full of flaws, but his expression was unbelievably calm. Strange. This person was either an idiot or a monster to the extreme. Forget it. Su Longxiang put his palms together, and a swastika started to spin rapidly. It was a Buddhist technique. Benefactor, take this. Godly shimmy palm. The swastika instantly enlarged 10 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet. As his palm descended, 9 strands of equalization Tao insight converged on it, and it blasted down towards Lin Yu. The shock waves from the battle erupted. Many people heard the commotion and became excited. These people were all geniuses of the boundless sea. No one would be so naive as to think that entering this training ground was really as simple as finding Haiju. Killing and seizing treasures was their main objective. As for the 4 winners, they weren't the ones with the most Haiju. In their world, only those who were still alive were qualified to take Haiju out. Lin Yu faced the palm head-on. The 5-elemental imprint palm struck out at the same time. His perfect state of equilibrium erupted and directly swept away the godly Shumi palm. Rumble. The 2 palms collided. Su Longxiang's eyes widened as he saw his palm energy being neutralized by Lin Yu. Not only that, the remaining power of the 5-elemental imprint palm was heading towards him. This person is really not simple. He had already prepared to retreat, so he easily dodged the remaining power of the palm and wasn't injured. Su Longxiang and Lin Yu pulled away from each other. At the same time, the others also rushed over. 22nd C Lord Shan Qingling and 4th C Lord Mu Zhantian were the first to arrive. When they saw the 2 fighting, they didn't immediately take action. Instead, they chose to observe. As for Tai Jian, Situ Xiao, and Zhuge Lingyun, they were extremely smart. They didn't care about the battle here. Instead, because of the battle, they sped up their search for Haizhu. That kid actually has such strength. Mu Zhantian saw Su Longxiang taking the initiative to pull away from Lin Yu and already sensed that something was wrong. It was impossible for a cripple without cultivation to force Su Longxiang to retreat. On the other side, Shan Qingling also sensed the problem. She looked at Lin Yu a few more times, but still couldn't find any clues about Lin Yu. It was as if this person didn't belong to this world. Therefore, no one could see through his cultivation. Lin Yu, this poor monk, was only digging for Haizhu. Why did you snatch it by force? Su Longxiang immediately pretended to be innocent when he saw people coming. Everyone, please be the judge. The first battle was only to see who could dig out more Haizhu. This kid wanted to sneak attack this poor monk and steal my Haizhu. If this poor monk's cultivation wasn't so strong and dodged his attack, I might have died in this bastard's hands. Su Longxiang, you were actually attacked by a newcomer. Don't you feel ashamed? Mu Zhantian teased. This kid isn't simple. He's ruthless and extremely shrewd. Brother Mu, why don't you help me get rid of him? Otherwise, I'm afraid the next one he'll snatch will be you. Su Longxiang's words seemed to have already met Mu Zhantian's eyes. Lin Yu thought so too. These people were all famous in the Sea region for a few years. They probably had some connections in private. He didn't know if Shan Qingling was the same. If the three of them joined forces, he would be in trouble. Su Longxiang, are you saying that you want me to help you? Mu Zhantian looked at the Haizhu ranking in the sky and sneered. I can help you. This kid has 11 Haizhu. I want 7. Hearing that, Su Longxiang's face darkened. You're really greedy. Hee, if Brother Su isn't willing, then I'll just watch you guys fight. When the time comes, I'll help you. How could Su Longxiang not understand the meaning behind Mu Zhantian's words? Once he and Lin Yu were exhausted, it would be the time for Mu Zhantian to reap the benefits. I wonder if Lord Shan Qingling is interested? Su Longxiang looked at Shan Qingling again. Since he was at a disadvantage, he might as well get another person to help. If Lord Shan Qingling is willing to help me deal with Lin Yu, I can give you some of the Haizhu. Mu Zhantian narrowed his eyes. Su Longxiang was reminding him that he wasn't the only one who could help. Shan Qingling could also be his partner. Not interested. Who would have thought that Shan Qingling would reject him without hesitation? Lord Shan Qingling, have you thought about it? Su Longxiang asked again. If I want to snatch, I prefer to do it alone. I don't want to bully others with numbers like you. Shan Qingling stood with her hands behind her back. Her cultivation was similar to the others, which was at the 9th Dao equalization stage. However, her coldness and principles were higher than the others. This reaction also attracted Lin Yu's attention. Interesting. Kid, how dare you sneak attack me? You're about to die and you're still laughing? Su Longxiang shouted coldly. Brother Mu, let's do it. Chapter 766. Do you remember me now? Mu Zhantian sneered in his heart, but he wouldn't go against his own interests. He was about to kill Lin Yu first and take away his 11 sea pearls. But before he could make a move, a voice came from afar. If you want to touch him, you have to get past me first. The voice came from 100 feet away, but when everyone heard the voice, the figure had already appeared in front of Su Longxiang and Mu Zhantian. Lin Yuan. Mu Zhantian and Su Longxiang were shocked at the same time. Although Lin Yuan is also a newcomer, no one dares to underestimate him because of his record of killing Jiangbei Han. What does this have to do with you? Get out of my way. Mu Zhantian shouted. Su Longxiang was in the equilibrium state, which was lower than Lin Yuan. The dead Jiangbei Han was also in the equilibrium state. But Mu Zhantian was different. He was in the first level of the 4 symbol state, which was the same as Lin Yuan's cultivation. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of Lin Yuan. Just help me block this person. Lin Yu's voice came. Lin Yuan nodded immediately and stood in front of Mu Zhantian. I will fight with you. Bastard. Su Longxiang saw this and immediately gritted his teeth. He felt that something bad was happening in front of him. A black sickle broke through the air. Lin Yu raised it casually and attacked him. Boundless Dharma. Su Longxiang made a gesture with both hands, and a huge Buddha statue suddenly appeared on his body. The Buddha statue rose to the sky and directly faced the black sickle with both hands. Death God Crossing versus Boundless Dharma. The golden light and the black light suddenly collided. Damn it! It was only the second move, but Su Longxiang already felt an unprecedented pressure. How can this person's moves be so strong? He retreated again and again, and the Buddha statue outside his body disintegrated. Death God Crossing fell again. Su Longxiang's body moved again, and injuries appeared on his body. Go! Knowing that he was no match for Lin Yu, Su Longxiang planned to run away, but another Death God Crossing slashed down. The speed of this blade was too fast. Su Longxiang's vision turned black, and the black light of the sickle had already fallen. He subconsciously dodged, but he was still one step too late. Blood gushed out as Su Longxiang's entire right arm was separated from his body. His right arm had been severed by the Grim Reaper. Damn it! Damn it! Lin Yu, I'm not done with you. Su Longxiang roared, but he didn't dare to delay any longer. He burned his cultivation and took out a large number of pills from his storage ring with his other hand. In exchange, he fled the battlefield at extreme speed. In another direction, Mujan Tian was startled by the quick conclusion of the battle before he even made a move. Wasn't it F*King over too fast? Who the hell was that Su Longxiang? He had only exchanged a single blow with Lin Yu, and his arm had already been chopped off. What was the point of playing then? There must be some misunderstanding here. Goodbye. After saying that, Mujan Tian also ran away without looking back. You ran a little fast. Lin Yu felt a little helpless. Originally, he wanted to leave Su Longxiang alive. Unfortunately, these people were quite strong. He couldn't kill him in 2 moves. It seems that I will have to use 3 moves next time, Lin Yu said to himself. When Shan Qingling heard this, she only felt the hair on her back stand up. Su Longxiang's arm was chopped off in 2 moves when he was in his peak state, but he was still not satisfied. He wanted to take his life in 3 moves. This is probably something that even Tai Jian and other Sea Lords can't do. This seemingly harmless young man has such terrifying combat power. How can he be so decisive? Do you want to snatch my Haiju? Lin Yu suddenly looked over, and Shan Qingling's delicate body trembled. I didn't. Oh, Lin Yu said softly. Shan Qingling could hear the disappointment in the other party's one word. Terrifying, if she had attacked Lin Yu just now, would this guy have chopped her off now? Then what are you doing here? Lin Yu asked again. Shan Qingling was startled again. I plan to cooperate with you. Lin Yuan, a heaven-grade aptitude powerhouse, is already terrifying enough. Now that she knows that Lin Yu is also so terrifying, it made Shan Qingling have the idea of cooperation even more. How do you want to cooperate? Lin Yu asked. Shan Qingling saw that there was an opportunity and immediately explained. Tai Jian, Situ Xiao, Zhuge Lingyun, and Mujan Tian, all 4 of them are masters of the 4-symbol state. That's it. Lin Yu's calm voice came. He dug out another Haiju in front of Shan Qingling. 12. Lin Yu showed a knowing smile. But when he looked up at the Haiju ranking above, his face twitched. Damn, when did you surpass me by so much? At this moment, the first in Haiju ranking was Tai Jian, who had already obtained 20 Haiju. The second and third were Situ Xiao and Zhuge Lingyun, with 18 and 16 respectively. Lin Yu directly fell to 4th. Is this because Su Longxiang wasted a lot of my time just now, so I was surpassed? Lin Yu immediately thought of the reason. Others fight while I develop. It seems that these 3 geniuses' brains are not bad. Probably at this speed, they also saw the clues of this volcano trial field like him. Plus the time wasted by Lin Yu. They could surpass him so much. Thinking of this, Lin Yu planned to hurry up. Digging out Haiju was one thing, but it was best to find Su Longxiang and those who came to deliver their heads. It'd be more convenient to snatch their Haiju directly. Thinking of this, Lin Yu planned to continue looking, but Shan Qingling stopped him again. Shan Qingling was surprised by Lin Yu's means. He actually found another Haiju. But this scene made her even more certain of her thoughts. They are all in the four symbols state, and they are extremely powerful, and their friendship is not shallow. I mean, they may have already cooperated and decided on the person who will win the first battle. They can still decide? Lin Yu smiled. Shan Qingling sighed softly. That's right. You might still be a newcomer, so you don't understand this, but the younger generation of the Boundless Sea have different transactions in private. They will cooperate, and you can't win against them alone. For example, Tai Jian and Situ Xiao. Shan Qingling glanced at Lin Yu, wanted to say something. Continue speaking, or move aside, Lin Yu said coldly. Shan Qingling gritted her teeth, and could only continue. Tai Jian and Situ Xiao often trade. Women below. Women? Lin Yu smiled with interest. When this scene landed in Shan Qingling's eyes, disdain arose in her heart. Indeed, were all stinky men the same in the world? That's right, they use women as playthings. With their abilities, there's naturally no lack of beautiful young beauties around them, and in order to find excitement, they often exchange women. How do you know? Don't ask about this matter. You just need to know that there's this matter. Chapter 767. So that's how it is. Lin Yu touched his chin. Is it possible that Shan Qingling is also one of these women? What's wrong? Shan Qingling was taken aback, seeing that Lin Yu continued to ignore her and went in the opposite direction. What do you mean? I am not interested in other people's women. Lin Yu waved his hand. Wait. Shan Qingling's pretty face was sullen, her figure moved, and once again blocked in front of Lin Yu and Lin Yuan. What nonsense are you talking about? I have nothing to do with them, and I refused. Lin Yu still looked at her with a look of disbelief. I am the 22nd Sea Lord, and I want to show my sincerity by telling you my information. If you don't believe me, I can prove it. Shan Qingling was obviously a little anxious because of Lin Yu's reaction. She knows that with her ability, there is no way to win against Tai Jian and his group. Whether it is combat power or strategy, she has lost to others by a large margin. The only way now is to choose to cooperate with Lin Yu and Lin Yuan after seeing the combat power shown by them. How do you prove it? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows, without the slightest tenderness for the fairer sex. Shan Qingling gritted her teeth. In order to stand firmly in the position of the Sea Lord, she must make some achievements in the sequence battle. Thinking of this, Shan Qingling pulled up the sleeve of her right hand. On the snow-white arm, there's a vermilion mark. This was left by my master when I was a child, to prove that I am still a virgin. Shan Qingling's cold, pretty face was a little aggrieved, but she still finished this sentence. Do you believe it now? I have nothing to do with them. I can cooperate with you. I believe you. Lin Yu nodded. It seems that this goddess with a cold appearance also has a weak side. Since it's okay, then continue. Shan Qingling eased her emotions and continued. I know the secret of this volcano trial field, and I believe you know it too. Everything here is arranged according to the 36 constellations, and the sea pearl is also hidden in the corresponding position of the 36 constellations. You guessed it after seeing my actions just now, right? Lin Yu smiled faintly. This woman was quite prideful. Yes, but also no. Dan Qingling wanted to retort. Forget it. Just think about it this way. I just want to say that I also know this pattern, so I can find Haiju very quickly. Therefore, our cooperation doesn't mean that I'm taking advantage of you. I see. Then how do we cooperate? Seeing that Lin Yu could finally speak properly, Shan Qingling's pretty face also had a hint of a smile. We have also decided internally that we can share the ocean pearls that we collect. Out of the 4 positions, you and I will each take one. Lin Yuan too. Lin Yu interrupted him. Lin Yuan, who was next to Lin Yu, did not speak, as if he was a pet, and stayed obediently by Lin Yu's side. However, Shan Qingling did not dare to underestimate him at all. I made a mistake just now. The 3 of us have also been decided internally. Out of the 4 spots, we will take 3 and kick the others out. Lin Yu nodded. I have the same intention, but what should I do? Shan Qingling continued. There are two strategies. One is that we act separately and continue to collect ocean pearls. Two is that we support each other. Once someone snatches the ocean pearls, we will immediately cooperate. For example, Su Longxiang and Mu Tian just now. If we had cooperated from the beginning, we could have taken them down. What you said makes sense. Lin Yu roughly understood that it meant to form a team and fight with others. He naturally had no opinion, but the premise was that Lin Yu did not like equal cooperation. We can cooperate, but I have a request. Lin Yu said simply and directly. Shan Qingling's face changed slightly. As long as it's not too excessive, I want your ocean pearls, all of them. Lin Yu interrupted her. Impossible. Shan Qingling's bright eyes frowned tightly. Even her usual cold appearance was angry at this moment. You are too much. If you want to cooperate, you should trust your teammates. Don't hide it from me. Lin Yu looked up. Shan Qingling should have 8 ocean pearls. It was not a lot, but it was not little either. With Shan Qingling's ocean pearls, Lin Yu could compete with Tai Jian. I can accept other requests, but not this one. Shan Qingling rejected Lin Yu again. Other requests. What if I want to remove your chastity sand? Lin Yu sized Shan Qingling up. He did not like this kind of high and mighty woman. Most of them needed to be conquered by men. How dare you? Shan Qingling was completely furious. She shifted her body and pulled away from Lin Yu. She was guarding against Lin Yu. So you don't trust me? Then this cooperation is not very meaningful. You can leave. Lin Yu shook his head, slightly disappointed. Shan Qingling just said coldly, all crows in the world are black. I was wrong. It turns out that you're no different from others. You are too much. With that, she turned around and disappeared in front of Lin Yu and Lin Yuan. Lin Yu looked at Lin Yuan innocently. Am I too much? With that said, Lin Yu raised his hand and motioned Lin Yuan to take out his ocean pearls. Not too much. Lin Yuan shook his head and took out an ocean pearl in a daze. He was proving his words. Since they were partners, there was no problem in taking out his ocean pearl to give to Lin Yu. However, looking at the lonely ocean pearl, Lin Yu couldn't help but twitch his old face. Just one. Master, I don't know the rules of this trial field. Lin Yuan looked innocent. It was not that he didn't want to look for it, but after searching blindly for a long time, there was only one ocean pearl. In the 36 constellations mentioned by Lin Yu and Shan Qingling, how would he know what they were? Well, let's continue to collect. Lin Yu told Lin Yuan several directions. Now, they are racing against time. Lin Yu, there were not many ocean pearls left here. According to Lin Yu's estimation, there were at most 108 ocean pearls, which just corresponded to the 36 Tiangang constellations and the 72 Earth Fiend constellations. And what Shan Qingling comprehended from him was only the 36 Tiangang constellations. Lin Yu's speed was faster than others, and he once again surpassed the third-place Zhuge Lingyun. Tai Jian had the most now, 23 ocean pearls. The second was Situ Xiao with 20 ocean pearls. The speed of these two people was very fast, followed by Lin Yu with 19 ocean pearls. The fourth-place Zhuge Lingyun only had 17 ocean pearls. At present, Lin Yu calculated that these people had found a total of 79 ocean pearls. As for the rest, Lin Yuan, Mu Tian, Su Longxiang, and Shan Qingling had a total of 23 ocean pearls. According to Lin Yu's estimation, there were only 6 ocean pearls left. Chapter 768. Sure enough, with Lin Yu leading Lin Yuan, they found 2 more pearls. A few hours later, Shan Qingling also had 3 more pearls, and the last one was taken away by Su Longxiang. Right now, Shan Qingling's sea pearls were ranked 5th. She had 11 sea pearls. I have to think of a way. Lin Yu glanced at Lin Yuan's ranking. He only had 4 pearls, and he helped him find them. At this moment, Lin Yuan was the same as Su Longxiang, who was injured by him, ranked 7th and 8th with only 4 pearls. While Lin Yu was thinking, he heard the fluctuations of a fierce battle. He and Lin Yuan had already arrived at the edge of the battlefield. Before they got close, they could see two figures displaying their magical powers. The man was Mu Zhan Tian, who was at the first level of the four-symbol stage. The woman was Shan Qingling. There was only one woman here. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Shan Qingling, who had a steady character before, was actually fighting with someone. Moreover, there were a few other people nearby as well. Tai Jian, Situ Xiao, and Zhuge Lingyun all saw him. There was also Su Longxiang, who had a broken right arm. At this moment, when he saw Lin Yu from afar, his eyes instantly turned scarlet, and a fierce killing intent appeared on his face. "Damn it, don't fall into my hands," Su Longxiang said. Lin Yu looked over, thinking that the other party was going to fight him to the death. However, in the next moment, Su Longxiang turned around and ran away. Lin Yu. When Lin Yu arrived, the outcome of the battle below had also been decided. Shan Qingling's shoulder was hit by Mu Zhan Tian's palm, and she retreated more than 100 feet. At this moment, a large number of talismans were rotating around Mu Zhan Tian's body. These talismans seemed to have a life of their own. On each of them, there was a mournful roar, as if a large number of ghosts were sealed inside. The surrounding battlefield was also a bit gloomy because of Mu Zhan Tian's attack. The 22nd Sea Lord is only SOSO. Mu Zhan Tian sneered and bowed to Tai Jian and the others. "Can I be ranked 4th now?" Tai Jian nodded and looked at Situ Xiao and Zhuge Lingyun. "Do the two of you have any objections?" "No." Tai Jian smiled with satisfaction. "That's good. Then Mu Zhan Tian will be ranked 4th. I will be 1st, Brother Situ will be 2nd, and Zhuge Lingyun will be 3rd. These people had actually decided on 4 spots to advance to the next round. As soon as Tai Jian finished speaking, he saw Shan Qingling. "Hand over Haiju, and we can leave your corpse intact." Tai Jian's cold voice sounded, causing Shan Qingling's back to turn cold. These young geniuses were vicious and did not leave any room for negotiation. They had already decided that 4 of them would advance, but at the same time, they had also sentenced the other 4 to death. Apart from the 4 of them, everyone else had to die. It would be a pity to kill such a beautiful woman. Situ Xiao rubbed his chin and looked at Shan Qingling greedily. "Situ Xiao, don't forget about our business. When have we not had women?" Tai Jian snorted. Situ Xiao shook his head helplessly. I just haven't played with an Ocean Lord's woman." This woman suddenly became the Ocean Lord because her father died. In fact, she's similar to Fan Jinjin from the 6th Ocean. Zhuge Lingyun said. "Brother Zhuge is right. Shan Qingling, Haiju, do you want to hand it over yourself? Or do you want to search you?" Mu Zhan Tian sneered and approached Shan Qingling. He was about to attack. The 4 of them discussed among themselves as if they did not care about the others at all. Shan Qingling, on the other hand, was clenching her teeth. These people were in cahoots with each other and were very powerful. She was no match for them. At first, the 4 of them had surrounded her, saying that they wanted her to fight with Mu Zhan Tian to choose the 4th person. However, Shan Qingling knew that they were just trying to humiliate her as the Ocean Lord. "I won't give it to you even if I die," Shan Qingling said angrily. She glanced at Lin Yu and dodged Mu Zhan Tian's attack. Then, she went to Lin Yu's side. "You still want to run? Can you run?" Mu Zhan Tian sneered and saw Lin Yu behind Shan Qingling. Lin Yuan was also with them. "Big brothers, the troublesome people are here." Mu Zhan Tian was naturally timid. How could he deal with Lin Yu and Lin Yuan by himself? He immediately stood together with the other 3 people behind him. Troublesome people, are they worthy? Forget it. Since 4 people have been chosen, let's just grab Haiju. It makes sense. Lin Yu's ranking is actually higher than mine. I don't like him. As Zhuge Lingyun's voice fell, the 4 of them were about to attack. "Are we going to fight?" Lin Yu raised the corners of his mouth. "This seems to be more convenient. Let's end this quickly." Lin Yuan also nodded, eager to try. He is not a human being, and his body is full of the fighting spirit of a monster beast. It is easier for him to become stronger in a fight and stimulate his blood. Therefore, even if he is facing more opponents, Lin Yuan is more excited. However, Shan Qingling, who was worried that she would be surrounded by them, flashed her storage ring, and a glass bead appeared in her hand. She crushed the bead and threw it out in an instant. A white smoke burst out in an instant, spreading hundreds of feet and engulfing all their figures in an instant. Let's go. Shan Qingling turned around and pulled Lin Yu's hand without hesitation. Seeing this, Lin Yuan was worried about Lin Yu's safety, so he also gave up the desire to fight and followed them. Situ Xiao unsheathed the long sword in his hand, and the sword turned into 1,000 blades, throwing away all the white smoke. Damn it, where are they? Zhuge Lingyun, Mu Zhantian, and others' faces were extremely gloomy. They actually ran away. The monk can run away, but the temple can't run away. The volcano trial field is only so big. Are you afraid that they will run out? Tai Jian looked at the time. According to reason, they can go out in 10 hours. At this moment, the volcano trial field was restricted by the Venerable. No one can go out until the time is up. Brother Tai is most familiar with this place. After all, this is the territory of the First Sea. Do you know where they will hide? Situ Xiao asked. Tai Jian narrowed his eyes slightly. They have now reached a consensus, so there's no need to snatch the sea pearls anymore. Killing the others directly and snatching all the sea pearls and treasures in the storage rings is the most beneficial. As for the consequences, all the strong people only care about the results. Who cares about the consequences? Yes, Shan Qingling was injured by me, so she can't run far. And that Su Longxiang, I don't know where he went. Find him and kill him together. Mu Zhantian snorted coldly. Heal. Then have to find a place to hide. If I remember correctly, there are a total of 7 caves. We will look for them one by one. Tai Jian pondered and said 7 directions at the same time. Let's look for them together. The 4 people divided into 4 groups, and the battle of the volcano trial field officially began. Chapter 769. In the distance, Shan Qingling pulled Lin Yu and flew at high speed. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. She couldn't continue running. However, she knew that Tai Jian and the others wouldn't give up. This is for you. Shan Qingling gritted her teeth and gave all the sea pearls in her hands to Lin Yu. In an instant, Lin Yu had 30 pearls and rushed to the first place. Tai Jian and the others saw the change, and their faces turned gloomy. You must find them and die. Shan Qingling, that bitch's pearls are all gone. She gave them all to Lin Yu. Bastard, I won't have a chance to enter the top 4. Mu Zhantian was furious. Lin Yu was number 1. Tai Jian, Situ Xiao, and Zhuge Lingyun, these 3 people combined, already swept the top 4. He still had a place to stand. This is my sincerity. We're partners now. Shan Qingling said weakly. She had slowed down. You're badly injured. Lin Yu said calmly. It was as if he was just saying something boring without any emotion. Hearing this, Shan Qingling turned her face away. It's none of your business. You just need to know that we're partners. I don't care about the rest. You have to let the 3 of us enter the top 4. Are you so shameless? Lin Yu spread his hands and carried her. What are you doing? Shan Qingling's face turned pale. She didn't know if it was because Lin Yu carried her or because she was injured. It was her first time being in contact with a man. She immediately shouted, "Put me down. What are you doing? Don't move if you want to live. You're as slow as a tortoise now. Are you afraid that Tai Jian can't find us? You're the tortoise." Shan Qingling's blood boiled after hearing Lin Yu's words, but she couldn't refute. Because the moment she was picked up by Lin Yu, the 3 people's flying speed increased by more than 2 times. It turned out that Lin Yu and Lin Yuan were cooperating with her speed just now. You guys are so fast. Lin Yu's face twitched. Don't call a man fast. That's impolite. How is it impolite? Just as Dan Qingling was about to retort, she thought of the second meaning of Lin Yu's words. She immediately blushed and turned her face away, no longer looking at Lin Yu. However, she did not resist and allowed Lin Yu to hold her in his arms. She could feel Lin Yu's strong body on this man's arm. Even though they were moving at high speed, they didn't feel any bumps at all. This man was very steady. No, what am I thinking? He's a scumbag, just like Tai Jian and the others. Dan Qingling imagined for a long time. Lin Yu found the first cave. Lin Yu originally intended to let Dan Qingling rest and heal her injuries, but to be on the safe side, he didn't stop there. He changed direction and found the second cave. Only then did he put Dan Qingling down. Master, I'll guard outside. Lin Yuan stopped outside the cave and only let Lin Yu carry Dan Qingling into the cave. This cave was naturally formed. There was a big stone in the middle, but it was angular and not suitable for lying down. Lin Yu casually waved his finger and unleashed a sword chi. The sword chi split a large rock and formed a simple stone bed. Only then did he put Dan Qingling down. Looking at this scene, Dan Qingling couldn't help but feel warm in her heart. This man seems to be quite considerate. But before she could think too much, Dan Qingling spat out a mouthful of blood. She only felt an unbearable pain in her shoulder, and when she gritted her teeth, she also saw black blood oozing out of her shoulder. It was her blood, but it had turned dark at the moment. Are you poisoned? On Mu Zhan Tian's talisman, there's a lot of corpse toxins, and Tai Jian's body is known as the two most poisonous powerhouses in the boundless sea. Dan Qingling said a sentence, then got up and sat cross-legged. She took out some medicinal pills from the storage ring and took them. That's it. Lin Yu felt that something was wrong, but he didn't stop the other party. However, when the medicinal pills took effect, Dan Qingling felt even more pain, and a thick black mist emerged from her shoulder. Why is this happening? Dan Qingling shouted out in pain. Lin Yuan, who was outside the cave, heard this voice and walked a few steps away silently. Lin Yu shook his head helplessly. Nonsense. If you don't get the poison out first, wouldn't taking the medicinal pills increase the poison's nutrients? Now your injury is even worse. You, how do you know this? Dan Qingling looked at Lin Yu in surprise. That's not right. Since you knew it, why didn't you stop me? You did it on purpose. Dan Qingling was so angry, it was equivalent to Lin Yu watching her jump into the fire pit. You didn't ask me. Lin Yu looked innocent and said again, What's more, I am not sure if you trust me completely. I gave you all the sea pearls. Dan Qingling explained. Okay, that's just a trick for you to get away. To be precise, it's a trick for you to drag me into the water and pull me into the same boat as you. Lin Yu's eyes were deep, and he smiled faintly. Now that I have become the first, those people will definitely see me as a thorn in their side. So you are tricking me. Dan Qingling endured the severe pain. Although Lin Yu was right, she still wanted to refute. I didn't expect you to be such a coward. I'll let you get the first place, but you are afraid of Tai Jian. Then return the sea pearls to me. The things that are in Lin Yu's hands will never be taken back by others. Lin Yu pressed Dan Qingling on the stone bed. Okay, you are the 22nd Sea Lord. What else can you do other than provoking me? Do you have a way to help me heal? Dan Qingling was no longer stubborn. The pain on her shoulder was increasing, and her forehead was already sweating. Her consciousness was also beginning to blur. Once she fell asleep, Dan Qingling knew that she had no hope of winning the sequence battle this time. The method is simple. Take it off. Lin Yu pointed at her shoulder and said calmly. What? Dan Qingling's eyes widened. Why do I have to take it off? The poison has been injected into your shoulder. I have to suck it out first, otherwise you are dead. Suck it out. Dan Qingling's bright eyes flickered. You're not lying to me? You can choose not to believe it. Lin Yu spread his hands, looking as if it had nothing to do with him. After a long time, Dan Qingling couldn't bear the pain, and she closed her eyes. She slowly pulled down the sling on her right shoulder. Although the wound was black, it was only the size of a small fist. More than that, Lin Yu saw the extreme collarbone and fair skin. This woman was a few years older than Fan Jinjin, but her skin was elastic. Lin Yu pressed her shoulder and locked on to the location of the poison. He buried his head in Dan Qingling's shoulder. Dan Qingling exclaimed and subconsciously grabbed Lin Yu's clothes. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.